Oh, that sounds like my cue. Welcome, everybody. For those of you that are joining us live, for those of you that are joining us on the recording, welcome. My name's Stuart Denman, and with Natasha Denman and our gorgeous team, Wendy, we've got Tammy on the call. We're welcoming you to the Blueprint to Book Writing Success Seminar. Now, why do we call it Blueprint to Success? Well, we have now helped more than 850 people become first-time authors from all around the world. So whether they started off with this little voice inside their head telling them to write a book, whether family or friends have heard their story, how they've seen something remarkable within the way they've been able to overcome a situation, get through a very challenging time, whatever wisdom that you feel as though you have to share, just know that your story is worth it. So many people discount what they've been through or what they've overcome or what they've got experience or expertise in. But we know that there are so many others desperately out there just seeking guidance, seeking hope, seeking something, hearing from somebody else that they've also overcome or got through a certain situation. So we're going to help you overcome. A lot of you may having little fears and self-doubts. That's generally the number one reason why people don't write books. You might be unsure on the structure or the process. We're going to take you through everything today. We're going to show you a way that, as I said, has helped that many people, 850, become first-time authors, going on to write over 1,100 books, because once you get through the first one, a lot of people then say, wow, I love that I was able to share my story here. I've got another one to tell. So I'll be utilizing the chat box as much as I can for you guys. So do sort of check in there every now and then. I'm going to be back a bit later to show you the 5 things you've got to get right as a first-time author to really make sure that you get your message and your book read by as many people as possible. And that's going to start off with a lot of the mindset, help you overcome that, take you through the structure. And then, yeah, we're going to enjoy, you're going to enjoy it. I know that. We've been doing this for the past 10 years. So without further ado, Nat, I will hand back to you to set up the rest of the call, and I'll see you guys all a bit later.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm really excited. Same way that I was excited 10 years ago when I started doing this, because we do run this seminar live, like we're here, guys, with you, about 36 times, nearly 40 times a year. And we absolutely love meeting different people from all over the world now, and just spending like this week with these 22 authors that you see behind me on the whiteboard, helping them like grow and in confidence and complete their books and now have them on track for Christmas. That's been it's really rewarding. It's my pinch myself moment when I get to do that. And that's why I keep doing it. It's because of the ripple effect that you guys create in this world with your message or with your story and your expertise and the people you get to help. So I feel like I'm helping thousands of people because of my authors through their books. So if you can be on camera, as I said, please be on camera. I can see you. You're all on my massive screen here. I've got you in a grid, and sometimes even get you to put your hand up so I can physically see what you're doing at your other end. Final logistics is, yes, our crew's on the call right now. So which means if I'm speaking, you can still write questions, because there's 3 or 4 people there in the background who can pick up that question, answer it. I will stop and ask questions. I will ask you to interact with me in the chat box as we go along. And you don't have to worry about writing down this PowerPoint presentation. Everything will come through you halfway through this call. Lindy, my beautiful events coordinator, is collecting attendance, and then she's sending the thank you email, which will contain some resources we're going to go through in the seminar, as well as the downloadable of this PDF of the presentation. So only write down the cool things that I say over and above this presentation. So you are muted from mine, so you won't be able to unmute yourself accidentally, which is a good thing. We're recording. We'll send you also the recording once we've completed today. If I do ask to unmute you, which I will for a couple of you in a moment, to find out a little bit kind of more who is in the room, you'll need to give me permission at your end, and then you'll come off mute. All right. Now, there is a lot of people who upgraded to a VIP ticket at this seminar, so I'll just explain what that was. There will be an email Stuart's preparing for you guys to come out at the end of today. So I'll just show you what that was. It was $20 US or $30 Australian, and it gave you some extra goodies and learning over and above the 2 and a bit hours that we're going to be here together. So what it gave you is 30 days access into our private community. So you know those 850, nearly 850 people that we've helped, that's where they hang out, and that's where all our support calls, everything like our paying clients do with us, you get to hang out in there. Like, and it literally you can check out like who we're about and who all these people that we've worked with, and that's really, really high value. Then you get access to a 30-minute structure success acceleration call with one of our team, myself, Stuart, Tammy, Wendy, depending on where you are in the world. The ultimate first-time author checklist. This is the 80-point checklist I've put together for people who've never written a book, because you simply don't know what you don't know. Right? I don't know about you guys. I didn't know nothing about writing a book, and I went about and I made a ton of mistakes. And this checklist is after 10 years of doing it. I want people to kind of almost test themselves. What do you not know about this whole journey? Because sometimes we could be ignorant and take the steps by ourselves and then make a lot of waste a lot of time and money in trial and error, which is what happened to me. So you get the additional book to the first book you would have had access to download. So when you registered for this seminar, a little window should have popped up and asked you if you wanted to download the Shut Up and Write Your First Book. That was for free, right? If you didn't get it or you didn't see it, it'll be reattached to your thank you email from Lindy halfway through the seminar. And then the VIPs, you guys are going to get the 48-hour author book. Okay, so this is the second in the trilogy. The first one's all about mindset. The second one's about process. And I'll tell you about the third one later on. Then the book blueprint e-course. So Stuart's going to teach you about unpacking a book in 10 minutes in this seminar halfway through. This is the course that complements that. Each segment breaks it down for you to do it in your own time. And actually the recording of this seminar professionally filmed when it was done face-to-face. It used to be a 4-hour because we're in a physical room and all that sort of stuff, so you can see it from a different perspective. So it is not too late. If you do want to upgrade, there's a link. Lindy would have posted it in the chat, and then you can do that. Sometimes might refer to a couple of things that are in the book that you can get through. All right, so we divide this with what we call in 2 sessions, even though we're going to start to finish. But first of all, we're going to unpack this virtual room's why. Why are you here today? What's your biggest challenge when you think about writing a book? What will happen if you do nothing about it? Okay. We're going to talk about book positioning, how you need to think about a book, and Stuart's going to show us that book unpack, right? I will share a bit of my story, not to get to know me, but I'll share my story because I really want to give you some key lessons and do's and don'ts that I realized in these last 13 years since I've been doing this. Okay. And then quick stop, check in, Q&A, continue on to the publishing industry. What are the differences between traditional publishing, self-publishing, 48-hour author? What are the pros and cons in each of those routes? And leverage is the last thing. So how do we take this book, which is what I call your business card on steroids, and leverage it in a massive way out there in the world and make the impact we want to make and help the people that we want to help? We stick around as long as you have to. Open Q&A, so that therefore we might run up close to the 2.5-hour mark. It depends how much I'm wound up, as Stuart says. And then after the event, there'll be an opportunity to speak to one of our team on Zoom one-on-one about your specific situation, because we believe that all of you guys are unique. It doesn't matter if your book is in a niche where there's been lots of other books written. I believe everyone has their own flavor. And when you do embrace that, that's what wins people over and brings people into your world, right? It doesn't matter who you are as a person. Like, everyone has their own genius zone and something that like kind of connects with other people. And that's what you really need to kind of, when you own that, that's when you start to magnetize people towards you. All right. So in a moment, I'm going to stop sharing my slides, and I want to take a couple of you off mute. Okay. 2 of you off mute. And I want to ask you what you're writing about, why are you here today, what's your biggest challenge when you think about writing a book, and what will happen if you do nothing about it. Okay. So the rest of you that there's lots of you here at the moment that I don't take off mute, please write down for me while I'm talking to those people, what is your biggest challenge when you think about writing a book, into the chat box. Okay, so if I can see you on screen, you can literally put your hand up and I am going to take you off mute. So who would like to share about what they're writing about and what is, their biggest challenge? All right, who's going to be brave to put their hand up first? Otherwise, I'm just going to choose someone. Donna, okay, let's take you off mute. You know, I'm just going to choose someone if no one puts their hand up. Hey, Donna.
Hi.
Awesome.
So you ask your question and I'll.
Okay, so Donna's from Adelaide, and she's writing a book about.
I'm writing a book about. I'm hoping to join with my husband. We
Mhm.
discovered 2 months ago, after being married for 30 years, that he actually has Asperger's, and we've had a fairly challenging communication marriage,
Right.
and we want to. We love each other very deeply, don't want to divorce or split, which a lot of people do. And so we want to write a book that I want to call Exasperated, because you're often exasperated if you're married to somebody with Asperger's.
Yeah.
And Aspie is short for Asperger's. So I want to call it Exasperated, back the way we came. So it's sort of a journey
Nice.
of rediscovering how to work better together while being married in a tough
So you guys are going to be co-authors, yeah?
Well, I think I will actually mostly author it, but I'm going to get his input.
Yeah. You're going to be the project manager. Yeah, I love it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I actually had a sister couple at the retreat just gone, Robin and Kari, who wrote a book. One's the illustrator kind of thing, doing the illustrations, and the
Yeah.
other like driving the bus, and she's kind of who we feel is the project manager. And that's the best way to keep it. That way you'll
Yeah.
get it finished as quickly as possible. So what's your biggest challenge when you think about writing a book?
I think just because I've actually started trying to write a book on marriage quite some years ago, but
Yeah.
now we've actually got a bit more of a niche topic. And so I think now it's just about trying to organize my time to make it a real priority.
Yep.
And see it as something serious, not just, a hobby that will never happen. And then just, the process, I suppose, especially actually with publishing and those sort of things.
Well, you're in the right room. We're going to cover all of those things. And it's a great commitment you've made to starting that process today. Like being here, staying start to finish also shows your commitment to how serious you are on this, with this. And it is the time right now. Like, I really want you guys to think about, what brought me here, because there's a reason. There's no people who didn't show up or whatever registers. Oh, yeah, nice thing to think about. They're not here because they're not ready to hear the message. Those of you that are here are obviously here because there's something that is really important to you. There is some moment that you've had that's like, now's the time, and I really want to find out exactly how this. So thank you so much. What would happen if you do nothing about it?
Well, it's just never going to happen.
Never going to happen. Yeah, and you probably might not help the people you want to help.
Yeah, that's true.
Going through the similar challenges that what you've been through, because I'm sure sometimes we might be writing a book because we want to grow ourselves, but also at the same time we want to help and help other people out there. Thank you so much, Donna.
Thank you
for being brave to come off mute first. Lilbeth, I'll take you off mute. You've got your virtual hand up.
Hi, Natasha, and
Hello.
everyone here. Good evening from Toronto.
Nice to meet you. We've got tons of Toronto authors. Yes. What are you writing about?
I'm a caregiver. So I'm writing about my personal journey on caregiving and, giving too much and forgetting about my own self-care and self-love. So I'm actually in the process, but of course I'm missing the structure, and I'm writing and then I'm stopping and writing and I'm stopping. I want consistency in my actions so that I could actually give birth to this.
Yeah.
So that's so timely that I get to know your 48 hours. Okay.
Thank you, Lilibeth. Is it pronounced Lilibeth or Lilbeth?
Lilibeth.
Lilibeth. Okay, beautiful.
Yes.
You're also in the right room because I have to help caregivers write, books on self-care with their own stories. But remember, I told you have your own flavor, and really what you're saying and mentioning about structure being your number one challenge and kind of being all over the place. That is the number one obstacle first-time authors will have. I'm going to share 4 obstacles in this seminar that you're going to have. And this is the one you must overcome in order. You got to overcome in order. Some of you may have come in here and go, I just want to find out about publishing, right? You're skipping a couple of steps. Okay, so I'm going to take you right back. That's beautiful. So what would happen if you do nothing about it, Lilibeth?
then I defeated my purpose because I know we are here for a purpose.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And we don't want that. I know people say, I'll have regret. One man said to me, the music will die within me, Nat, if I don't write this book, you know. So what's your big why? Unless you have a big enough reason why, you're not going to get to the how. You must have reasons before you're ready to listen to answers. So hopefully you came into this room today, guys, with a big why. Okay? Maybe enough is enough. Because let me ask this question. Who here has been waiting to write a book or wanting to write a book for more than 5 years? Put your hand up if I can see you on camera. Wow, you guys were fast. Usually, like people like kind of go, oh, you know, it's shy. But it is really important. Like, that's it. If this resonates with you, take the next step, whatever that is for you. Take the next step. It doesn't have to be with us. We can be with someone else. If you like us, talk to us. But I really want more people to back themselves, because writing a book is not about the book. It is actually about the person you become at the other end of it. It's a transformational journey like no other. You really change, and you're going to quote me on it. If we end up working together, you're going to quote me on it when you pick up that book and it comes in your hand, you know, because these guys that spent 3 days with me this week, you know, online, virtually, we do our virtual retreats. They go, oh my God, Nat, I already can see it. The book is not even ready. We've just finished the writing, but you can already feel it. Do it for yourself. Okay, number one, do it for yourself. The other people will benefit because you backed yourself and you knew that you were worthy enough. Because often it's people who don't do it. It's not about time or money. Can I just tell you? So if some of you put time and money there in the chat box as you challenge, yeah, there's a valid reasons. But a lot of the time, if you went deep down, they don't feel worthy enough of the journey. Okay, self-worth and fear is the number one reason why people don't write their books. Okay, sorry, I can't take any more off mute. Otherwise, we're going to run so much off time. But I am willing to take people off mute in the Q&A time. So let's get back to this slide share, because I want to unpack this a little bit more, because I want us to build that why together so that you really commit and start doing something after today. All right, so I'm showing you the pyramid here on the screen. And I don't know if you know this statistic, but more than 92% of adults want to write a book. More than 92% of adults want to write a book. Wow. And then less than 0.01% ever do it. What is going on here? Why is this? So many people want to do it, and I already mentioned some of the reasons, but I'm going to define this for you in this pyramid. And I want you at the end of the pyramid to write down in the chat box for me where you've been sitting all this time. Just be honest, just make it real, and that's what will move you into action, right? Keep taking action today, being interactive in the chat box, putting your hand up when I'm talking. The more you engage, the more you grasp the information, and you really are helping yourself on the journey. So the largest subset of the population out of those 92% that want to write a book but they haven't done it yet are they in the thinking category. Yeah, many of you put your hand up, more than 5 years, right? And it happens in every room I've been the last 10 years. You know, desire is high, thinking is constant, but action is non-existent, right? I don't know who said this quote, but I love it so much. You've got to share it with you. It takes a bloody long time not to write a book. Write that down at your end. It takes a bloody long time not to write a book, and underline not. Right? It's a funny quote, but it's so true, isn't it? It is so, so true. So let's hope at the end of the day, no one's going to sit in this thinking category, right? The next group of people that have been wanting to write a book but haven't done it yet are the perfectionists amongst us. Yeah? I don't know if you recognize that within yourself, but they started writing 5 to 10 years ago. And Stuart and I like to say they're moving around deck chairs, right? And unfortunately, this is the point when people like this that come to me and they go, oh, Nat, I've been writing for so long. It's my life's work. Da, 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 da. And I said, can I give you some advice? And they go, yes, please. What should I do? And I said, can we start from scratch? And they look at me with shock, go, what do you mean start from scratch? I said, yeah, because the person you were 5 to 10 years ago is not the person you are today. Even if you're telling your life story, whatever it is, you're from a different perspective, right? Things change. You're going to say it from a different. This is why 48 hours, 3 to 4 months. These guys that were here this week, books out by Christmas, they stay relevant and off the now. And guess what? Next year you can write another book. I've been doing this 13 years. I've done 14 books because I keep growing and evolving, and it's addictive. I love, kind of sharing what I learn through a book format and all that. So write this down in your notes. Perfectionism equals insanity and looping. Perfectionism equals insanity and looping. Okay? So what I want you to focus on and what I mentor all my authors on is progress over perfectionism. Progress over perfectionism, because 90% of something is better than 100% of nothing. Yeah, really, really, really important to know that. Okay, let's address the time. I have no time, right? So why do people say, I don't have time, or it's not the right time right now? We get that a lot, right? We get that a lot. Thankfully, 48 Hour Author hopefully just solves that time issue. Like, it's not that big a deal. People spend 2.5 days with me, and now we're moving really close to getting their books into publishing. So people say that it's not the right time because maybe they lack focus and clarity. They walk around going, oh, I just need more clarity before I take action. They're waiting for some top of the hill moment. You know, that 3 a.m. wake up. Oh my God, this is it. This is my thing. But you know what? Those are very rare moments in our life. Can I just be honest? I don't know about you guys. Yes, I've had light bulb moments in life, but they don't come very often, right? And so what I've realized the last 13 years, I've worked out how you get clarity. Ready? All right, write this down. Clarity comes from action. Clarity comes from action. The more action you take, the more clear you get. I like this. I don't like this. I should do this. I shouldn't do that. Test and measure, right? I wrote 4 books, guys. My first book, The 7 Ultimate Secrets to Weight Loss, has got absolutely nothing to do with what I do now. My first 4 books were not about authoring at all. You know, I did different things, and you'll hear that story in a moment. However, they kept giving me clarity on what the next step through all that fog would be, until I arrived at my purpose and my mission, which is what I've been doing now for a decade. So it took me 3 years to get to that point, right? So the book is actually not that important to you. Is the other reason why you're saying it's not the right time, I don't have the time. So let's talk about human values. You know, in our top 3 values or priorities, you want to call them, it's where we're going to spend most of our time and money. Might be family, might be health, might be travel, might be business, might be education, whatever it is. So if writing a book has been living on value 15, 16 or whatever, of course you're going to say it's not the right time, I don't have the time, I don't have the money. So here's the solution to that. If you really want to do this and you have a big enough why, you need to push up writing a book, and you can do this consciously. I'm going to make writing a book be one of my top 3 values, yeah, for a temporary period of time. Because writing a book is a temporary pain in the butt. Once you have done it, you will benefit from it for life. I can guarantee you that, because even that weight loss book still sells and still is part of what I do. And even though I don't promote anything around that type of business anymore, right? So writing a book is a temporary pain in the butt. If you just push it up in your top 3 values for a few months, get it over and done, you're going to benefit from it in so many different ways. And the last one, I'm going to address my business owners in the room. Those of you that have a business go, I don't have time, I'm doing so many things, you know, and you know, like juggling all the balls, you know. I would encourage you, are you outsourcing? Are you delegating? Are you trying to do everything yourself? And you've just bought yourself an 80 hours a week job rather than a business that was meant to provide a lifestyle for you. Okay? So go from there and think about where you sit. All right, next group of people that wanted to write a book. Maybe they already did write one. Sometimes in this seminar, we have someone who's already written a book, or, you know, they're struggling to market and promote it. Maybe there's that classic case of garage full of books. There might be that fear of publishing. Who do I go? What questions do I ask? I don't know who to approach. Or there's that fear of success, which is a greater fear than the fear of failure. Maybe they have got the manuscript. It's just sitting there. It's ready, but they're tinkering. I like to call that, we use that word in our business, tinkering, because they're like scared to let it go, right? So my journey and my job here with you guys is to show you the path to leveraged authorship. Okay, write down in the chat box while I'm finishing this off where you think you've been sitting in this pyramid. Let's see, the right thinking, perfectionism, time, whatever it is for you. But I'll give you some tips, Benisa, and all of that here, and my team might be able to also answer that as well. But my job is to take you to leverage authorship, to show you how when you write a book, you get amazing opportunities you never thought possible, right? How you can repurpose your content, because it's your content. You can rip off and duplicate yourself as many times as you want. And then how you too can sell your own high-end programs if that's where it kind of leads. If it's not a legacy book, if it's a launch or a leverage book, right? Thinking, fear of running out of time, Robin, fear of publishing, fear of success, false expectations, yeah, that's what fear stands for, right? Thinking, perfectionism, not sure. Beautiful. Okay, thank you so much for sharing, and those of you that have, so hopefully at the end of today, you will resolve some of those challenges for you. So in case you didn't notice, I do have an accent in my Aussie accent. I wasn't born in Australia, and I didn't speak a word of English till I was 14. So if I can write 14 books, guys, no excuse, you can do it too. I was born in the capital city of Macedonia, Skopje there, and I grew up there till I was 14. My mum left me behind at the age of 11 and a half to immigrate to Melbourne to look for better opportunities. She didn't leave me behind in a bad way. However, we were separated for 2.5 years. I'm an only child. I don't know if you guys, whoever's got children or whatever, I've got 3 of them. Oh my God, that was a big decision from a parent to go on the other side of the world and not see their kid for 2.5 years, and vice versa for me, being a kid who grew up the only child of divorced parents back then. Everyone stayed for the children. I was the only child who didn't have a brother or a sister. Everyone had 2 kids and a full family. But you know what? This kind of an upbringing and all the shit that happens in our lives, there's always a silver lining, isn't there? There is always why this happened. Oh my God, thank God it happened, right? Afterwards, in hindsight. All right, so for me, this kind of upbringing truly enabled me to develop 2 key traits: resilience and independence. Write those down. Resilience and independence. Why am I telling you to write them down? Because that's what you need when writing your first book. They're transferable in life. Independence, to stand behind your story and your message, because guess what? This is what you believe and truly you want to share with the world. And secondly, resilience, because guess what? Not everyone might agree with what you're saying. And that's okay, because we're here to help the people who believe what we value. Yeah, who value what we value, and therefore they're the ones we can bring along on this journey. Some of you are going to enjoy learning through this seminar. You're going to stay to the end. We might work together and all that sort of stuff. Some of you are going to go, who's this bubbly wog? I'm just going to log off, and, you know, she's not my style. She's not my cup of tea. And that's okay. I'm not offended at all. I just focus on the people I can help. These guys that I spent 22 days with, I had 5 marriage proposals. They were all women, by the way. And, you know, Stuart's going, oh, if Stuart ever leaves you, can we marry? And it's like, I love, you know, it's like that common thing that you have. That's what you need to focus on. That's what you need to focus on moving forward. The last thing I'm going to tell you about my upbringing is my mum's famous saying. You know how your parents tell you 1,000,001 things and you only remember like 2 things that they kept saying to you? My mum always said, whenever I start something new, she would say, Natasha, remember, every beginning is hard. Write that down. Every beginning is hard. So you might say every beginning is awkward or unfamiliar, whatever you want to call it. But oh my God, isn't that true? And writing your first book, thankfully you guys are here with us, starting to learn a little bit, so it's not as hard. For me, I didn't know people like me existed when I did this 13 years ago. I didn't know there was book coaches and mentors and programs that could give you a shortcut. You know the thing, you don't know what you don't know. And I just went off, started doing it by myself. But hopefully with this, it will be a little bit less awkward. It will still be awkward and unfamiliar, but if you're kind of going, do this, don't do that. Do this, don't do that. That's what the whole seminar is about. All right, my background in terms of employment, I've had 3 jobs in my life. I'm 46 years old. And this is it, my whole resume on one slide. I worked in a comic book store while I completed a degree in psychology and psychophysiology. And then I spent 12 years in the optical industry. OPSM and Specsavers are like LensCrafters in the US or Canada. I'm not sure if LensCrafters are in Canada. Biggest optical retailers, right? And it's got bloody nothing to do with what I'm talking about right now, right? So what the hell happened? Why am I standing here for the last 10 years helping people writing a book? Because when your life takes a shift of 180 degrees, normally what needs to happen? Shit hits the fan. Yeah, shit hits the fan. It's all because, I've just had a change of mindset or whatever. You know, usually we get pushed in another direction because there's some kind of a catalyst. So here's my shit hit the fan moment. March 2010. I'm happily working as a manager at a store 5 minutes from home after having my first child. And Stuart had been poached into Specsavers from OPSM, and he was given a 3rd share franchise. So we were now business owners. And I was a manager at another Specsavers store. And March 2010, I get this phone call at work at lunchtime, and he goes, Nat, drop everything that you're doing and come home straight away. And my stomach and my heart just sank. I was like, you know, when you know, there's bad news, but you don't know, no one's telling you, like, that someone stabbed you. And I go, what do you mean? I go, I can't leave. It's lunchtime. I'm not the boss at this store. I'm just the manager. And he goes, well, you need to come home. I can't tell you this on the phone. And I said, okay. And then I left. All he said to me actually is that Judd, our son, our firstborn, at the time, he was okay. So I reluctantly drove the longest 5 minutes home. I couldn't wait. I picked up the phone to ring mum because she's still my only family in this country, right? And she said, I'm all right. I don't know what's going on. She goes, go home. I go, oh my God, maybe his dad or him. Like, what's going to happen? And so I walk up these stairs, walk through the sliding doors of our house, and I look at him on the floor, legs crossed, hands in his face, crying. And I go, what's the matter? What happened? He said to me, I lost the business. I made a poor decision and I'm not going back there tomorrow. So this Specsavers business was third share franchise owner. He had made a poor decision and he was jobless. Like the business lost everything. My first reaction when I heard this news was, oh, is that all? Because what happens when shit hits the fan? First stage is denial. And very quickly I went from denial, anger, blame, depression. I'm the 48-hour. I'll go through things very quickly. And I found myself going to a counselor to talk about these things. I was really struggling. I go, what the hell? Well, we were like climbing whatever ladder in life. Now business owners, franchise owners, all this sort of stuff. And I go, now it's like this. I'm working 3 days a week, 2 mortgages, but we can't even pay for basic living expenses. And so, guys, I went on this thing and this counselor is going, oh, how do you feel? And how do you feel? And how do you feel? Like, oh, my God, no wonder I didn't become a psychologist. I couldn't just sit there and listen like this. Anyway, I start researching life coaching. Tell me in the chat box if there's anyone who's done life coaching and was there a shit hit the fan moment why you went to do it, like to work on yourself, because I realized 9 out of 10 times that's the case. And so, guys, but however, the marketing when I was considering coaching said 6 figures income, part-time hours. And I was like, oh my God, I need to work out how to do this. My back's up against the wall. My husband's like at his rock bottom. Like, you know, he needs to look for a job, like, you know, to get reemployed because otherwise we can't survive. And I said, I need to like, do something. And so I invest in a $15,000 life coaching diploma. I'll just reshare my slides. And I start my first business called PRS Coaching, yeah, which stood for absolutely nothing because soon I learned that coaching is not the business. Coaching is a tool you use to solve a problem. And it was not going to be about me helping other people before I could help myself, right? They told us you should go out there niche, yeah? And I'm like, how do you do that? They go, see what you attract. See what comes to you. I said, what is this woo-woo stuff? What I try? They go, otherwise, look at where have you done your 10,000 hours and maybe look to niche there. So I thought about it. I go, retail. I was an awesome 12 years in retail. I was running $5 million stores. I was really great at it. I said, I'm going to be a retail business coach. This first 12 months, guys, I also invested in a stupid scam called Speedlinks. It was about setting up websites and sending traffic to them. The only thing in 13 years I've made a poor decision about investing in, but I was desperate to figure out how to make money. But I actually made the biggest mistake and learned my biggest lesson that I'm hoping it's going to save you time and money. And that is that 3 businesses does not equal 3 times the amount of money. Okay? And my first 12 months, I invested over $45,000. Thankfully, everyone had payment plans because I couldn't afford to work like, you know, have that marketing masterclasses, the diploma in life coaching, the Speedlinks thing, my own one-on-one coach, because they said coaching gets you from A to B the fastest way possible, right? And also the biggest other lesson I learned is that in this world, there isn't a lack of ideas or willingness of people to take action or invest in themselves. There's actually a huge problem of focus. People don't get in line and stay in line, and that's why they don't get to the success they want to get to. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. Doing everything. Maybe taking all of this action you see on this slide, maybe sort of got me closer to figuring things out, because I started to notice that a lot of what I was attracting actually in the early days as a generic life coach were these people who are, what do you want to work on? I want to work on my health. What do you want to do? I want to lose weight. So I actually decided I'm going to teach you how I wrote my first book, because that might be a strategy you might want to follow for your own way to write your first book. Or I'm going to teach you also the 48-hour way. So I'm going to give you 2 ways now. But first, I just want to unpack a little bit why I chose to write this first book. Okay, so it was 7 months in. It was December 2010. So 7 months after I began the coaching, and only one paying client in, right? I was sitting down after a networking event with one of my networking buddies, Stefan, who was a printer. And he was telling me about his printing business and how I could refer business to him and vice versa. I was then telling him about my passion in human behavior, mindset, coaching, all this sort of stuff. And he stopped me about halfway through my explanation. And he said, Nat, he goes, you should write a book. It will be your business card on steroids. And I just looked at him, and in my eyes, it was like that penny just dropped. And I said, oh my God, Stefan, I think you're right. I'm going to write a book, because by this stage, I had tried 50 or 60 different marketing, promotional things, networking twice a week. Like, I was going out there making relationships, but I didn't have my hook, right? In terms of how I could attract more clients into my business. I go, oh my God, if I write a book, it gives me that oomph, like, that, credibility piece, because I also looked a lot younger when I started, and like, I didn't feel like people would take me seriously. And so came January 2011, and I sat down with my diary like I always do, and I wrote out my first 90-day goals. So I normally do 12-month goals and then 90-day goals. I break it down, right? And I wrote my first 90-day goal, and I said, it's the 31st of March, 2011, and I have just completed writing 90 pages in Word. And I said to myself, 90 days, 90 pages. Who can't write a page a day, right? Chunked it down to myself, made it seem not so big a deal. But then I thought, that's a lot of stop-start. Maybe what I need to do is open up my week purview in my diary and block out. So what I decided to do is block out 2 2-hour writing sessions. And in those 4 hours, the goal was to hit the 7 pages. So twice a week, 2 hours. To this day, that formula works like magic as long as you're consistent and stick it out. The rule around that had to be that I must treat those 2-hour writing blocks as if they're paying clients, because we show up for paying clients, don't we? Yeah. So I sat down, and by the way, also in my goal, I wrote down. So I wrote down about what my date, and I've just it's the 31st of March 2011. I've just completed 90 pages in Word. I feel excited. I can see myself sending my manuscript to an editor, and I can hear myself, oh my God, I'm going to be an author soon, right? And so I mapped it all out, and guys, I would show up to the 2-hour sessions, and sometimes I would be like really fast typing, and it's like, oh, this is awesome. And then other times I would show up and I would like just go like, oh my God, there's nothing in my brain. Everything I could possibly know in my life. That's all I've, typical writer's block, when you don't know how to unpack information correctly, you don't know how to structure it correctly. You're just stuck, but even if it's 3 sentences in 2 hours, whatever, I would turn up. I go, next time, maybe it'll be better. Nevertheless, in 80 days, the content was complete. I was so sick of it by the end of it. I was like, I'll just get it over and done with. And now I needed publishing. And by the way, a ton of mistakes not having a mentor. I'll tell you about them in a moment. But then I go, well, I don't know anyone that does this. So I went to Mr. Google. Mr. Google, self-publishing. What do I do? And I spoke to a few companies who blew a lot of smoke up my butt. That's okay. You live and learn, right? I hired one company. I bought a publishing package from them. Again, I didn't know the right questions to ask, and I didn't know how to guide the process, which is something that this is why I've been put on this earth. I'm overcoming things that I see constantly happen in this world of writing. And I'll tell you the mistakes I made not having a mentor or not having chosen the right publisher, and how to go around them, what questions to ask today. Okay? But nevertheless, 3 months later, which is how long a self-publishing process takes. So 3 months is why 3 months? You spend a month in editing, a month in layout, and a month for print production. So these guys, August Retreat authors, are going to have books by Christmas, because they're going to be handing in their manuscripts into publishing in the next 2 weeks, and they're going to spend a month in each of those stages, so to get a book by Christmas. So next, what I want to do for and by the way, 2 days when this book came out, it was 2 days before I gave birth to my second baby, and 13 months into my business, with having generated only 7 grand in the first 12 months. When this first proof copy of the book came into the mail, and I opened the box and I looked at my face, I went, oh my God, that's me. I was so proud of myself. And it was in that moment that I grew 3 inches taller. I kid you not. It was as if, like, then I went networking, I looked for every opportunity to tell people about that I was an author. I introduced myself with it, and people are like, I want to have what you're having. Yeah. And that's what that, people buy people. I don't know if you've heard that saying before, but people buy people. And that's where people go, oh my God, how did you do this? How did you achieve that? And they want the answers around that. And so I, newborn baby, I had to do boobs, babies, and business. That was it. And my goal was never to return to the day job. I was able to hand in my resignation 6 months into the maternity leave until I doubled my weekly income from the day job, and then I never kind of looked back from there. So what I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do is set your own goal right now. You're here right now. You need to be taking some action. Okay? It's no point in just listening. It's all well and good. I'm inspired by Nat. She's funny, or whatever it is. It's really engaging. But if you don't do something for yourself, what's the purpose? Every time I attend a seminar and something, I go, what are the 2 or 3 things I'm going to action now for having spent this time, invested this time into listening to this expert, right? So this is my template for goal setting. You can use it for all sorts of goal setting. I do it for health, for travel, whatever, but you can use it today for your book. So it's there, and you're going to choose the date you're going to have your book in hand, like your first proof copy, let's pretend. Again, if you can hand a book in the next 2 weeks, you can make the Christmas deadline. But generally, our next program, signature program, is happening in November, and those guys will have books in hand around March. Okay, so we always tack on like 3 to 4 months after the retreat because of those professional services that need to be done on the book, because we want a book that looks like a traditionally published book, but it is a self-published book at the end of the day, because you want it to look like it belongs in a bookstore. Quality is important for credibility. Okay, so I'm going to put a little background music. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do this. And then if you're brave enough, again, to make it even more real for yourself, I want you to put it in the chat box what date you chose. Just put in the date that you chose for your goal. So I'm just going to play a little bit of a soothing music in the background and give you 2 minutes to do this. Go. All right, about 10, 15 seconds. Beautiful. Well done, guys. And I can see already a couple of people have put their dates. Keep putting your dates in. We'd love to, by having your date also, we can advise what the timeline is, how everything would work when you do speak to Wendy or Tammy, outside of this, because we work backwards and show you why and how it happens for that particular date. So we've got, first one was Jennifer. May usually, that 9th of May, it might be a touch and go for when we do our February program to get May. Usually it's late May, early June. So probably November retreat would probably see you there more comfortably. 25th of August, normally Feb, May. Authors would get the August date next year. 25th of December. Okay, it's a Christmas book, Marcia. You need to get it in the next 2 weeks if you want a Christmas book. 11th of the 9th, 24 again, start of first couple of retreats in the year, Robin, that would get you there. April, probably the November retreat, February, yeah, also November, yeah, probably even even sooner. The book would need to go in December. I love it. Thank you so much. That's awesome. That's probably a lot of dates, and usually people are a bit shy about sharing their date. But that you guys are great that you've shared exactly when you want, and it makes it more real for you. Who cares? You don't know anybody on this course. So, just making it like just doing that brain to hand connection is really, really important. All right. So I want to share some of the first book mistakes I made, but these are very common, repeated mistakes that first-time authors make when they go, I can do this on my own. And yes, that's what we think when we don't know what we don't know. And yes, I believe you can do it on your own. However, are you ready for the trial and error? Are you ready to waste a little bit of time and money if you're going to do it on your own? Because that's what happens, and that's what happened to me. So not having a mentor on my journey meant poor structure. I just started writing. I did not unpack anything, which is what we teach. You're going to learn from Stuart, book unpacking. And then later on, those of you that are having the VIP, there's talking about the chapter unpack system in the 48-Hour Author book that you can check out. My cover, poor cover design. Like, come on, you guys. That's one of the biggest mistakes I actually make. First-time authors who don't have guidance produce really crappy looking books. I'm sorry, but this is like my face is on it. So what? This is a weight loss book. Why the hell am I not standing in some sexy dress holding an apple? You know what I mean? Like something that sells, the kind of the health and who people want to become and all that sort of stuff, and the font and all that sort of stuff. Not much, didn't know too much about it. By the way, I made the same mistake because I still didn't have a mentor from book 1 to book 2. This is the second version. Look at this. Same thing. I had to republish the book. You can see here on the right-hand side, I lost the rights to my book. I didn't know what questions to ask the publisher. They didn't give me my print-ready files. They wanted me to keep printing from them, and every time I would have to reprint 100 books, $1,500. I was buying my own books. Come on. It doesn't cost $15 to print a book of that size. Yeah? So back to the left-hand side, no sexy names for chapters. You're going to learn about sexy names or hypnotic writing with Stuart in terms of how to make something people really curious to pick it up. That's what it is about. People judge a book by its cover and absolutely what's on the front and the back before they'll go on the inside. So if you don't get the 5 critical things right that Stuart's going to teach you, that's the first step you got to get out of the way. It's not even about the guts of the book. Calls to action. I wanted to build a business behind. I didn't put any calls to action or nothing in the book. What? Why not teach people all this stuff? Because, you can whet someone's appetite or really inspire them. And if they want to do the next, how can I get more? Because that's usually what happens, you guys. You spend some time with them, like reading your book. And it's like, if you do want to help them further, is there something else that they can do? For me, it was the weight loss coaching, and I had programs and things like that, but I didn't put them in the book. And no seeding. Seeding is selling without selling. Seeding is just like going, this is what we do. And you're not saying, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. Yeah. So on the right-hand side, yes, I had to repay for publishing. That's why you see 2 different covers, because I wanted to get my own print ready fast. So I need to pay for a new layout, new cover, new ISBN, new barcode, everything. So that's where I wasted money. And then the company that I worked with, to this day, 12 years later, they're still freaking ringing me, trying to sell me done-for-you marketing, right? Oh, we are marketing managers. And then these packages are $15,000 to $50,000 US. No guarantee. Please do not buy done-for-you marketing. You are the best person to do your sales and marketing. That is the very last thing you ever outsource in any business. And by the way, if you're sitting there, oh, but I don't have a business. But if you write a book and you're selling a book, you have a business. You're getting paid for a product. Even if it's the book is the only thing that you have and nothing else behind it, you do, unfortunately. You have to declare that income. So these are the things that I really got stuck in, and why I think my big why is to try to eliminate these blocks that happen, because I have found in the publishing industry, there's the light and the dark side of publishing. I'll give you the questions to ask a little bit later. But in hindsight, doing this for the last 10 years, I have worked out that you guys as first-time authors, we have to overcome 4 obstacles on this journey in the correct order, in this order, right? Because a lot of people, as I said, can come to this going, I just want to learn about publishing. But actually, even if they've written the whole book, usually 9 out of 10 times it's really poorly structured. Okay, so number 1 obstacle an author's going to have is structure, the key to getting started. Some of you may not have started, or you have lots of bits of paper everywhere and they don't know how to pull it all together. So Stuart's like our go-to mentor inside our business, that he gets everyone organized, get their structure right. The number 2 thing is accountability. Writing a book is not a solo act. It may be portrayed like that in the movies and the shows, but if you want to go slow, go solo, I say. If you want to go slow, go solo. If you want to get smashed out, like these guys together for 3 intense days and have all their dates and they have all their accountabilities, they started pre-selling books, this is the key to getting finished. Every single time. I actually, the last 2 years, I started re-inviting my authors who are writing book 2 and 3 and 4. I've re-invited them into my 3-day program to focus and to do it with a group, because what I noticed is when they, even book 1 was done properly and then book 2, just buy a publishing package, and then they're lagging. What's happening? So then I started re-inviting my authors into like, come into the 3-day again. Get refocused, get it finished. And that's what happened. This retreat, we had 2 authors writing their second books and doing it all completely from scratch, like they did the first time, so they can get the books out by Christmas. So this is the key to getting finished. Number 3 is then publishing, okay? And this is the key to a professional book. And we like to call what we do internally in-house guided publishing, not self-publishing. Because self-publishing, I went through that with the weight loss book. Email after email, thankfully, I am an organized person and I could deal with those emails, but seriously, first-time authors need way more hand-holding from what I learned the last 10 years. Like so many of them, because you know what I've learned also is 80% of publishing packages never get used. Paid publishing packages never get used because people didn't follow number 1 and number 2. And unfortunately, it's like very, very remote with what happens. So that's why we call it guided publishing at our end. And number 4, you got book in hand, you're all excited, you're like, yes, I've achieved my goal. But then, this gets real. Now I want to make impact. How do I help others? How do I get this spread out in the world? Like the real work begins once the book is really out there and you can do stuff with it now. So these are the things that I love, like I go through from start to finish. So I'm going to give you 2 niching questions. If you're coming to the call going, I've got 5 ideas, I don't know what to write about, which one to do first, right? I'm going to give you a couple of things to ask yourself and choose the first one. And by the way, we give you more clarity in our one-to-one call with you guys after the seminar in terms of choosing which one's the right one to do first, right? So here's one question. Start to notice when people say to you, how do you do that? How do you do that? People see within us, that's the second question. I'll just give you the second one as well. What do other people see in you that they want for themselves? What do other people see in you they want for themselves? So maybe it's just true, inspiring story. Yeah. May, I think you said you're writing a book for legacy and things like that. I think Lilybeth as well, she's gone through a particular, career and all that sort of stuff. And all of you have a genius zone that other people go, how do you do that? Or how did you overcome this in your life? Oh my God. I'd love to know the story behind that or the strategy behind that. That's where your book, and it's so much easier because the books that you write are actually not for other people. Can I just tell you that? The books that you write are not for other people. The books that you write are for the past version of you. And if you can hold that in your head and just write to the version of you like 5-10 years ago, whatever it is, so much easier to write. Whenever I write books, my 14 books, it was me giving myself advice a few years earlier. 48 Hour Author book was the solution for the Natasha Denman who wrote the weight loss book the hard way, right? It's like, how would I have done it, if I had to tell myself advice now? How would I have built this multi-7-figure business? And I would just write the whole system behind it, right? So then if you can think of it that way, it's so much easier to write. All right, so let's learn how to write a book in 48 hours, okay? I didn't learn this process or system from anybody. I'm very impatient, as you can see. I talk fast and I just get into action. I just like, okay. And so this book was the first book written in a weekend. Often people say to me, where did this 48 hours come from? I'll explain it now. All right, so Ninja Couch Marketing was written so we can launch a brand called Ninja Business Chicks with my business buddy at the time, Donna Brown. And we said, what a better way to launch a brand than to write a book for it? And so at the time, Donna and I were already doing a lot of one-on-one consulting. Our businesses were at multi-6 figures. And we thought, let's go away on a weekend. You can touch type. I can touch type. You write 6 chapters. I'll write 6 chapters. And by the end of the weekend, we've got to work really hard, but we'll smash out all the content and we can move on to publishing, right? And then I had this extra idea for Ninja Couch Marketing. I said, why don't we interview a social media guru from chapter 13? Daniel at my networking group was that person. And then we add more value into the book, right? Because this was all about marketing your business from the couch. And Donna said, yeah, you do it, Nat, after your next networking event, and we'll get Stuart to book us an authory cabin in rural Victoria, and we'll do it. And so I asked Daniel, we sat down after one of the networking events. I had a clipboard of 20 questions, and he starts talking, and I'm writing, and he's talking. I'm like, 2 minutes later, I'm like, my hand's falling apart. I go, Daniel, stop. I can't keep up with you. This is like, you're saying all wonderful things, and you're phrasing them beautifully. I said, I can't keep up to write this down. So I said, can I use my phone and put it on recordings, voice memos, and to record you? She goes, yeah, go for it. So I enjoyed the next 20 minutes. I just sat back, asked my questions. He answered. I asked, blah, blah, blah. And then it was done. And I said, thank you very much. I went home. I sat down on my computer. And then I started to transcribe. I don't know if you've ever tried to transcribe anything in your life. Oh, my God, so boring. It's so slow, right? And back then, there was a platform called Upwork.com, and on Upwork.com you can find like contractors, transcriptionists, and for $20 I had this 20-minute interview transcribed. It comes back to me 3 days later, and I'm looking at it, I've got Daniel Martin, Ninja Business Chicks, Daniel Martin, and I'm looking at it, oh my God, this sounds exactly like him. It's phrased. I have permission to use it. All I needed to do is what I call is tighten it up, clean it up. I spend 1 hour, just like when we speak, we use longer sentences. And so therefore we need to tighten this up. And we throw in sometimes idiosyncrasies, like I might be saying a lot of so or absolutely or basically or whatever it is, guys. And so I tightened it up, and an hour later I was done. And I went, awesome, cut and paste into the manuscript. And I was like, oh, that was easy. I still didn't get it. Donna comes for this planning afternoon before our weekend away. And I said, all right, Donna, here's our run sheet. We're going to type for 90 minutes. We're going to have a 15-minute. We're going to type for 90 minutes. We're going to have lunch. We're going to type for 90 minutes. And it was like, and it was lots of hard work. And as I'm saying to this, I said, hang on. Why the hell are we typing? I mean, we speak on these topics on webinars and things like that all the time. Why can't we just unpack our 6 chapters each? By the way, the chapter unpack templates are at the back of the 48-hour author book, one for life story and one for how-to book, right? And I said, we unpack it, we go with 6 pages of our sheet notes or our structure, and we pretend like we're delivering a mini workshop to nobody, and they're not talking back, and we're doing a topic, right? And I said, because I did the maths, 17 to 20 minutes of speaking over 6 chapters and then 2 people, that's 40,000 words. That's the standard publishing package that we do for most of our authors, which is a 160-page book, kind of that size, And I said, are you willing to give it a go? She goes, yeah, I'm all for doing things lazy, Nat. So we rock up at this retreat, like our own mini thing, 2 p.m. on a Friday. I go into my room and I start speaking. Like I start walking around with my page of notes. I do 3 chapters in about an hour and a half. Let's say you stop, you pause, you unpause. I kept an eye on the 17 to 20 minutes to stick to that. Then I had a little break, went around this lake. There was a lake over there. Walked around with my headset, did another 3 chapters. I walked back in. It was 7 p.m. on a Friday. The weekend had just started. I was done. I said, I'm done. Girls' weekend away. Let's go dinner, massage, everything. And we went back to Upwork. We ordered a guy in Serbia who did this cartoony cover. That's what we wanted at the time. Guys, 72 days later, the book is in our hands. Why 72 days? Because editing, layout, print production, those professional steps, they cannot be fast-tracked. If you want a professional book, you got to work with the experts properly. But the execution happened in that 1 weekend. That's where we put in our author. If I wrote 7 hour author something, because really during our retreat programs, we give our authors 7 hours to complete their content of writing or speaking. I'll tell you a bit about those that speak it out, they can speak out their whole content, right? So that's where it all came from, right? Of course, there's the cleanup and then the publishing. That takes longer than 48 hours, but often people ask where they come from. So these are the steps. We're going to learn unpacking a book in a moment from Stuart. The following step after that is prep, right? So there's 10 to 12 hours of that homework to get your chapter unpacks completed before you're ready to execute. Whether you're speaking or you're typing, we had a mix of those authors at this retreat. You will need to do your chapter unpacks in what we call your pre-retreat homework, yeah? And right now, as we finish the August retreat, from Monday, Stuart is starting to prep the November authors and giving them that pre-work period to work on the book and like really get super ready. So coming in on the seminar is actually ideal time. We had people come in 3 days before August and still get ready. It was crazy. All right, so then it's retreat. Whether you choose to take yourself away, get out of your own environment, or you actually come into a hot house room and we spend 3 days together, via Zoom, which again, I don't know how I can tell you, but I've done it 18 times now and it's unforgettable. Everyone's just like, loves it. And you do, that focus work, you set the timer and smash it out. Next is transcription. So if you spoke it out, of course, you need to transcribe. But now I'm going to give you 2 tools that are going to fast track this even more. It's only happened the last 3 months that these 2 tools are playing a big part in how we're helping our authors. Download the app called Otter.ai. Otter.ai does instant transcription, very good quality. You can email it to yourself straight away. It's boom, done and dusted. It doesn't cost you a cent. The second thing you can use is ChatGPT. It's also open AI, artificial intelligence, to help you clean up your transcription so your work is so much faster again. That's what our authors were doing. And our system, as a result, has now become even faster and less tedious, if you know what I mean. Okay, so those are 2 free tools. And then last of all, publishing. Of course, you need to move into publishing. So that's where we are, like post-retreat, next 2 weeks, everyone heads down, bum up, cleaning everything, self-edit, and go into publishing, editing, all that sort of stuff. So you may attempt these 4 steps yourself. Please understand there's many nuances I can't deliver in one breath in 2 hours, okay? And there's, of course, customization. When I'm teaching people, we're looking at their situation, how are they doing? Will you type out 40,000 words if you're typing? No, you're not. The guys, the highest typed out words was 13,000 at this retreat. And I always say it's between 8 and 15,000, depends how fast you type out. But speaking, you can speak out your whole content. There's definitely enough time allocated. And it's not like today where you're listening to me the whole time. There's actually a lot of focus and writing. So July 2013, I was thinking, like, Donna was doing these work in your PJs days. If Donna stands for working in your PJs, what the hell do I stand for? And then I thought, if I can write half a book in 3 hours on this weekend away, maybe I can teach people how to do the whole book. So I can give them 7 hours. This is where this 48-hour concept came about. I hired a house and I wanted to not just be a book coach and mentor. I wanted an end-to-end system. I know that's going to be a huge responsibility to take on. Publishing, teaching marketing and sales, obviously prepping people, taking them through those 4 obstacles. But I said, I want success. I don't want the 3% of people only to follow through to actually succeed. I want them to get as close as 100%, because so many people flash money down on education and mentors and coaches, and they don't do nothing with it. So I said, if I can have this all together with publishing, take them away, feed them, water them back then, they have to follow through. So it was going to be a high-end program because there was so much included in it. It was like everything was thought of. There was nothing outside of it. So when I presented it out there for my first retreat in October 2013, most people said, have you done this before? Like, this sounds like a big deal. And I said, all I could say is I did it on the Ninja book. So until that first group, who were people who already liked me, knew me, and trusted me, these guys came to my first retreat in October 2013. They came out with their books March 2014 at our group book launch here. As you can see, back then we did face-to-face things. Everyone was like, oh, this works. I'm interested. So the proof was in the pudding. And the rest is history. I couldn't believe, that we've been able to come to the US a couple of times, do a physical retreat in Las Vegas. We had a 2-year partnership in the Middle East. Got a lot of authors from that side of the world. We did 28 face-to-face retreats pre-COVID. And as of yesterday, completed our 17th virtual retreat, which actually I had an author who came to my face-to-face retreat 7 years ago. And then she did the virtual one now for her book. And she said, oh my God, no. She goes, it's actually better. She goes, back in face-to-face, a lot of distraction because of connection and parties or whatever. But when you're she goes, in Zoom, you go into your quiet room, you're writing, and you're just focusing on your own stuff. And she goes, it was just as fun though, and you can see it from the photos. So we have a lot of fun during those 3 days. So I've written 14 books, part of 14 books, of course, self-authored, co-authored books, collaborative book projects that I'm very, very comfortable talking about any of those. If you look for someone who you want to help you write a book, they better have got the result. Every single one of my team members here, Wendy, 2 books. Tammy, she's written her own book, Followed the System. Lindy, even my virtual assistant, co-wrote a book. Here it is, me and my VA. Every single team member in my team has to have written a book. You know, there's no way you can help people write a book or guide them as an expert if you haven't done it yourself. Then we won Writing Publishing Mentor of the Year for this year, which has been wonderful to receive, a beautiful little plaque that's sitting up here in my office. But this is my family. This is my big why. I also feel like you guys become my family. Like, I really connected. As I said, I had marriage proposals over the last retreat, and this is one of my biggest values. You know, we've got 3 kids. Judd, Mika, and Zara, and this is my mum, who's still my only family here in this world, on this side of the world. But yeah, at the age of 60, my mum's 66 now, I was able to walk up to my mum and said, quit your job, come and be my human resources coordinator. You know, just little bits and pieces. She just, at retreat this week, for example, she needed to do the 3 days of school drop off and a couple of days of school pickup. She does a little bit of bookkeeping for me and post products and things like that. So, and I give her a full-time wage, which is wonderful. And the kids have grown up. So this is an updated picture and probably needs another update, but we work hard, we play hard though. We created this business to help lots of people, but at the same time, not to the expense of our own life, our own energy and lifestyle. So I can, you know, if I can do this, I know, and I have examples I'll share later with you of authors who've done it and taken their businesses, you know, to the next level. So kids write their own books. Actually, we were in the spa with my middle one, which is this one. She's a lot bigger now. Yesterday, and she said, oh my God, we never finished that second book when we were in hotel quarantine a couple of years ago. And she goes, but you know what? She goes, time has passed. I don't want to go back to that manuscript. She goes, I've changed. I go, no shit, you have changed. I said, she's like a 17-year-old who's 12. And she goes, but I've been writing this narrative at school and everyone's telling me I should publish it. This was the conversation. I said, well, let's do it. Let's have a look at it. How many words have you written? What's going on? So I think if anyone takes over the business, it'll be Mika. You'll be dealing with in the future. But Juddy also wrote his own book. Can you believe Juddy is the best-selling author in our family? He sells the most book because we don't promote his book because we've got so many other things that we're doing. But it's because it's uploaded on Ingram Spark, which is a distribution network we upload all of our authors' books on. And random people, because you can see it on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, random strangers just buy it. And then we get these reports. And when I see the reports from the random people, his book sells the most books out of anyone. But not only the youngest, guys, no excuse, whatever age you are. Papa, Stuart's dad, has written 2 books in a year. The first book was half the size of the second book, which is 60,000 words, the second one. This one came out just the other week. And so there's no excuse. If he can do it, you should have seen him. He needed all the hand-holding for that book 1. Oh, my God. Like, I spent probably 10, 15 hours with him. Book 2, double the size, smashed it out. Because, you know, every beginning is hard. When you're doing it again, you know what to do. So you're just repeating the same strategies. So as I'm introducing Stuart now, please share with me in the chat box so far, what did you learn? What did you notice? What do you want to share? What's your one aha moment? What's the one action of what Nat said to this point that you are going to do outside of this? All right, so Stuart's going to unpack a book, show you an example, teach you about hypnotic words in a moment, and show you how to think about your content, right? Next, after that, we'll stop for a very quick Q&A. And then we keep going, publishing industry. What are the differences between traditional self-publishing and 48-hour author? What are the questions you should ask on the publishing journey when you're considering who you're going to hire as your publisher? Last of all, monetizing your book. You know, how do you leverage this book? And I'm going to show you a crazy mind map. You're not going to be able to copy it down. That's why I download the slides and give you some examples of what people have done. But there really are 3 keys to book success. If you don't get these keys right in order as well, you're not going to come through with success as an author, right? Number 1 key, and this is why I sent you this for free. It's coming in your thank you email if you haven't read it. Reattached is your mindset. Fear and self-doubt, unless you can get out of your own way, get over yourself, you're never going to write the book, right? So Shut Up and Write Your First Book is your first reading. Second process, structure and publishing. How do I do this? What do I do? How do I unpack this? Like, now you're like out of your own way and you need to start taking the actions. So what are the right step-by-step actions? And the final key is leverage, which is why I wrote Shut Up and Sell Your First Book. So that really completes that whole journey through through writing your book. All right, so please, Stuart, take it away.
All right, hit me up with the first screen then so we can get right into it. All right, so these are the things that as a first-time author, you really want to get right when you don't have the runs on the board pretty much. So we all write books for different reasons. Some are doing it for cathartic reasons, but most of us want as many people as possible to hear our story, to read our book, what we've been through, expertise, etc. So these are the things that when it is the time, it's going to be in the back of your memory that you're going to remember to really focus on. So the 5 things that I always am looking at first up is when I'm setting up with our authors, it's making sure that we get the title really, really good. Now, it's not just what you like for the title. We've got to do enough work on identifying what your target market. So who is the primary readership of this book going to be? So I'll do research and find out what the person's wanting to write about, what problem they're solving or what they're sharing about. And there might be a primary, secondary, or even third readership. So once we have them in mind, all of these decisions become so much easier, and we know that we're going to guarantee to attract that right person. Your book doesn't want to be, you don't want to say it's just for everybody with a pulse. You know, it's not everybody's going to read your book. They're going to have a certain age demographic, characteristics. What are those things? So the title either wants to be one of 2 things. It either wants to be very specific to what the book's about, so it's very easily identifiable what the reader's going to get, or it's going to be ambiguous but very curiosity driven. So if someone looks at it, they go, what's this about? I need to know more about it. Okay. So that's one of the 2 things you want it to be, very specific or curiosity driven. Now, the tagline is an underutilized area that, again, you're learning some great tips here that you'll know that other people don't know when they're trying to self-publish. So the tagline gives you the opportunity to really reach your market even more as opposed to just the book title. So it's a way that you can make it very specific who the target market is. So you could call out the target market in it. You could give it a time-bound period of time that results in 48 hours or something like that. Or you can just go into more detail about what the actual book's about. So all nonfiction books definitely want to have a tagline, memoir, self-help, how-to style. They still want to have one. Now, cover design is another critical area that you've got to focus on. Unfortunately, Nat and I have a lot of people that we meet and they hand us books, and wherever we go, we have this, and they'll say, oh, look, I wrote this book. I thought it was really great. I haven't sold a copy. And I'll look at the cover and I'm just like going, ding, 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 red flag, red flag, red flag. Because they haven't spent enough time realizing what their potential target market wants to do. So you need to consider things like, well, what are your contrasting colors that you're going to use? If you're going to use a word-only book, you're going to have imagery, you're going to have you on the cover, you're going to have graphic design work. What are all of those different things? Because a lot of people buy books online. So if you're only seeing a thumbnail, well, you've got to really make sure that you're getting those things absolutely right. Again, based on your target market. Now, the blurb is, I almost think it's the most critical part of your book. Look, the cover's definitely going to be the bit, as you heard Nat say earlier. With books, people do judge their books by the cover, but the blurb is the next thing. So if you're anything like me, when you're buying a book, think about yourselves. You will have seen a book on the shelf that's attracted you to it. You pick it up. What do? You turn it over and you read the blurb, because the blurb is the thing that lets you know as if this book is for you. So, a couple of plain questions that you'll start, a sentence of promise, and then what the book's about. So you've got to nail that. So if the front page is curiosity, think of it like that. That back page and the blurb needs to be connection. So you've got to connect with the reader in the first 3 sentences. The statistics have shown that if you don't get that right and you don't grab them instantly, the chances of them buying your book drop by 60 to 65%, which is absolutely massive. So spend time on your blurb. I'll sometimes spend hours with our authors, making sure that every word's in there great for the Google and Amazon algorithm and things like that, but also that the words that you're using are really connecting with the reader. Now, another underutilized spot that people don't realize the importance of is really well-named chapters, okay? Naming your chapters really well give you the opportunity to leverage your content and get your book content read by people that might not have just gone directly to a book. So a well-named chapter title that creates interest or gives a solution to a problem can be repurposed for things like podcast interviews, keynote speeches, parts of an online course, pitch to the media, standalone blog piece, lead magnet. There's just so many different things that you can utilize the chapter names, and then everything, of course, directs back to your book. Or if you are in business, directs back to your website. People find out more about you, what else you offer, and things like that. So if you're looking for leverage, please make sure you spend a lot of time with chapter names, and I'm going to give you a few tips around that. So Nat, if you can flick screens for me, my dear. Now, how do you do that? How do you connect with people? The easiest and the best way, a tip I can give you straight away to keep it simple, is with hypnotic words and phrases. Jump onto Google, type into, give me a list of hypnotic words for the real estate industry, coaching industry, memoir, whatever it might be. You'll get a beautiful list like this, print them off, put them where you're doing your content. And then your chapter title, your tagline, your blurb, all the different areas, promotion that you can be doing. You need to make sure that you're utilizing these, because these words elicit an emotion. They make the reader feel something. And when the reader feels something, which is generally the two emotions that we want, to hope and curiosity, because they're the two strongest emotions that you can bring up with outside of love, they are the things that are going to make people develop this even further. So hypnotic words and phrases are awesome. Nat, next screen. Before, I've already put a few comments in the chat box for you there. So please, look back. I'm just trying to manage our time the best we can. But a great structure question that you really want to nail before you go into your content, and you need to answer it on behalf of the reader. And the question is, once the reader finishes reading my book, they will now know, or they will now understand, or they will now believe. And what is your desired outcome? You need to have a specific desired outcome for the reader. So you want them to know how to identify if they're in a narcissistic relationship and how they can leave that relationship safely if they are. They want to know how that they could buy their first investment property without risking their own home, etc. So have that question. And then when you're developing your chapters, which are your content pieces, does that specific thing need to go in the book? Because if it does, absolutely it goes in if it gets the reader closer to that. If it doesn't, leave it for something else. So it's a really good way of keeping your book succinct, very specifically identifiable to the reader, that it's going to help them. All right. So it was just an extra little tip. But now I want to help you with naming your chapters. You heard me say about the importance of getting these right. Think of it also as outcome-based. So if you do something, which will most commonly be what they need to know. So always remember with humans, okay, most things we do because we want to, not because we need to, okay? So always sell to people. So one great way of thinking of it is sell to the ego, give to the soul. So the content and the information you give them is very authentic. It gets them exactly what they need to know. But we've got to bring them in with what they think that they want, which is normally things faster, things easier, already what we call results in advance. So if they were to do a certain thing, what are they going to get as a result of it? So either sell to the ego, give to the soul, or the more common way you might have heard that explained is sell them what they want, give them what they need. So this top one, so these are my two favorite recommendations for you guys. It's either doing 2, 3, or 4 words. My preference is now 4 words. Consistent number of chapter words per title, or if you can't get it consistent, keep it as close as you can, but it's okay to mix them up and go with no set number of words, but definitely using hypnotic words within here. So the first book is just a quick example. We cannot quite see it's a weight loss book, okay? So what does someone need to do if they need to lose weight? Well, they've got to look at their diet. They might want to meditate. They've definitely got to identify what their habits are, what's their mindset like around this, and their beliefs and things like that. But if anyone's tried to lose weight before, you've generally seen these words. You think it's boring, it's been done, it didn't work last time. But just by switching it up, by going, if you do this and you do it well and it works, what's the outcome of it? So you'll see some of these things now like unleash success, lasting results. That's what people want. So that's the difference between selling them bringing them in on what they need and bringing them in on what they want and then giving them what they need. So if you're doing just a brain dump, you always start with just what they need to know and what you're giving them. And then when you're getting it ready and you're going to start to do your promotion or you're going through to the publishing side of it, that's when you're going to rename them into something that's really appealing. So you can then spread it out there as well. The next one is an Ultimate 48-Hour Author Book. You'll see that we've just used a lot of hypnotic words in there. So instead of just chapter unpacking, learn how to chapter unpack. How boring but that sound. But if we called it, which we did, the Ultimate Chapter Unpack System, ultimate and system are both hypnotic words. Well, it's something I can follow. It was a lot more appealing to people. And the words like the secret and the master plan all worked really, really well. So that's tapping into all of those hypnotic words and languages. Two other ways. The next one that you'll see up the top, Nat, if you can flick screens for me, it's using the same word throughout. So I'd only ever use this if you've got branding or you want to have strong branding. This lady mixed up and put the power in front of everything. So emphasize what she was teaching them was indeed very powerful. So she was an empowerment coach. Then instead of working on things like practicing gratitude, setting goals, what are their beliefs, etc., look how the difference, the power of intention, the power of beliefs, right? So very, very appealing to that market that was looking for something to get them out of the funk that they found themselves in as they went through middle life. Analogy or metaphor, please do stay away from this one. A lot of people still come into me showing me stuff like this that they've done. If I don't remember, your target market average, you're writing to the average intelligence of a 16-year-old. You then cover 95% plus of the population, of course, unless you're writing academic books. I understand that. But most of the time you want to market that. So if you are trying to outsmart yourself and call your chapter a certain name, you've got to, which is an analogy or a metaphor, you've got to spend the whole first paragraph explaining why that is, why you've named a certain thing, rather than being able to pose a really important question, challenge a belief, give them a statistic which is going to blow their mind and make them totally curious about the rest of your chapter. So don't lose the ability to connect with the reader and get them reading more and more of your book. So avoid that one at all costs. Now, this is one that we did in person. Now, Jono, when we were able to do these live, when we chose to do them as live events, Jono came in, he was a personal trainer. He was already doing very successful one-on-one. And when we met him, he'd already developed one of Australia's leading boot camps, which is one-to-many, get them in a group outside, either in garages or parks and things like that, and get them really, get them motivated and get them going with the use of having a lot of other people around him. And it got out of control. Jono was I think he had 80 people turn up at one of his boot camps, and he said, too many. Over the next couple of weeks, he trained up 5 other offsiders of his that he graduated with that were doing one-on-one work as personal trainers. And he said, hey, I've nailed something. I don't know what is it my personality? He's a very funny bloke, Jono, or is it the system I've developed? So he taught them, got them to start promoting it the exact same way he did. Guess what? All around Sydney, which is where they were, Australia's biggest city, they all started popping up and they were getting just the same amount as Jono. And Jono said, I've cracked it. So he had spent the 3 months before he met us trying to promote his boot camp blueprint, his business on, he was big on YouTube and he did live events and things like that. But he was saying, oh, guys, Stu, I don't know why this isn't working. Like, look at the results I've got. And what we worked out is very quickly after talking to him, he was trying to sell what they needed to do, not what these personal trainers would want to do, which is a big difference. They want to run a successful boot camp and help people with their online goals, with their personal fitness goals, to help them reach their income goals. So this is what Jono had originally been trying to sell, selling the mindset of making it work. What are the models and your workouts and drills and games? How do you get good at online and offline marketing? You got to store and nurture leads as they come in. You got to definitely be good at sales and hiring, professional development. And he wasn't getting any bites. And as he was he had him up the room and I was working with him on this, and the penny just dropped and he said, how didn't I remember this stuff? And again, you don't know what you don't know. And so very quickly, once we just switched it to what the outcome of doing these things were going to be, it just, Jono just, oh my God, this is going to work so well. So the minute he started putting things like this out now, mindset of a 6-figure personal trainer, he pre-framed that they were going to make 6 figures if they did this. Boom, they want it. Skyrocket your following, unlimited leads, easy money, clone yourself beyond 6 figures. Do you see how they are so much more appealing to that personal trainer wanting to grow their own business? And he gives them the authenticities. He teaches them exactly what they need to do to get those results. So that's why it's so authentic. And in the room, we went up with Ultimate Bootcamp Blueprint. He ended up dropping Ultimate afterwards. He just thought it was our word, which it's not. And then the tagline, which is what got such a great result with him. So how personal trainers, so we called out the target market, can make 6 figures a year, because that was the aspirational goal he knew they wanted to reach, working 60 minutes a day. So that was the zinger, where people would go, how can I earn that much only working 60 minutes a day? And then he very quickly explained it's 60 minutes in the business, other time working on the business. So that's the difference between going in with the mindset of, like, content's king, don't get me wrong. We've got to get all of those things right. But a couple of those tips I've given you are going to help with that. But to get your book read by as many people as possible, and to get the results and the opportunities that can come through it, focus on this when the time is right, and you're going to get really great results. So Jono is just another one of our examples of our authors. He was asked to speak on stages all around the world because he was a published author. The book piggybacked along for the ride with him. That's him and his business partner, Travis, a great Massive Humanity after a workout that they'd just done. So the cover just sold everything that other personal trainers wanted. They won awards. I just got videos and stuff like that. We won't have time to play them now, but that just goes to show, once you nail it, you understand what the market wants, you present it in a way that they can identify clearly that this is going to help them, or entertain them if you're writing a fiction book or an autobiography. That is going to go such a long way to getting the results and the opportunities that you're going to want from your book. Natasha?
Love it. Awesome. Give me a thumbs up if you are getting value and you learned lots from there. If I can see you on screen, excellent, you guys. Beautiful. Thank you for so many of staying on camera. I really do appreciate it. If there is a quick question now of something you want clarity, either put your normal hand up or virtual hand up. I can take you off mute, or you can pop it in the chat box. But we do have another half an hour of content. I'm going to do my best to finish the core bit of the content by the end of the hour, and then sort of start grabbing Q&A, because quite a few of you have already jumped the gun and are asking me about the retreat dates. I've already got a booked call with me with Bernice straight after the seminar. So let me keep going, and then I'm sure they're going to come up right at the end, because I know so for some of you it's Saturday morning, some of you it's Friday night. So we want you to keep going with what you've got to do as well. But yeah, this is really important. That was just a video about Jono. All right, so I again pop the questions in the chat now that Stuart's not talking. He can answer some more stuff around that. But let's go into the publishing industry, publishing smarts. About to show you a crazy table. That again you get in the download of the PDF. You can take a photo of the screen if you like right now. But let's compare the routes of publishing, right? And I'm going to give you those questions you should be asking when you're considering someone to be your publisher. So traditional publishing is your Hay House, Wiley, Random House, Penguin, those kind of companies that we've all heard of. Traditional publishing is the kind of most prestigious way to get a book out, however, a very unlikely route for a first-time author. Self-publishing is when you purely buy a publishing package and you're not taking care of obstacle 1, 2, and 4. So you're basically just buying editing, layout, like all bundled up. And we do that in-house as well as a pure publishing package. And that's what I did for my first book. But again, if you're a first-time author and you're not taking care of obstacle 1 and 2 and only buying obstacle 3, 80% of self-publishing packages never get used. And all that money is just sitting there in the ether, if you like what I mean. Ultimate 48-Hour Author is a guided publishing route. However, we're also thinking of every single step an author is going to go through, all the way from their mindset and then structure and then process and accountability and timelining and goal setting. And then we go into publishing, and finally we go into leverage. Because one thing you'll realize after listening to me after these 2 hours, I love business. I think business is a beautiful vehicle to help as many people achieve their dreams in how you serve them and how you help them. And that's why I encourage a lot of my authors to think bigger. Okay, think bigger, because the more people you can help achieve their dreams and goals and help themselves in a way, whatever way it is. It doesn't have to be a monetary way. It could be a healing way or whatever it is. The more your dreams get taken care of. That's how it works. It's the giver's gain kind of philosophy. So traditional publishing is my least favorite route, even though it's the most prestigious, because it is so slow. It takes 3+ years to get a book out into the world. And if this is what you've got your heart set on, you can still go down that route once you have built your own profile, because traditional publishers do not reject authors because of poor quality manuscripts or poor quality writing. They're actually rejecting authors because they have no network and following. And generally, a first-time author who's just starting out will not have any marketability. That's why you're going to get rejected if you approach this route. So you may have to be aware that traditional publishers, they're in control. You must come in with your manuscript finished and ready, and you need to show how you'll be able to help them generate sales, because they're going to launch you, but then they're going to keep promoting you. They own the rights generally, and it can be 6 figures to buy your own rights back. This is also another deal breaker for me, why I never wanted to go down this path. Rejection rate is super high because a lot of people who approach them simply have no network, and it can be years to come if you want to build your credibility, because 3 years for me, my business went from 0 to 7 figures in the first 3 years. Okay, so just by doing the weight loss book, taking my own control over it, that's where, I was able to fast track rather than waiting on someone else. Marketing, yes, as I said, initial launch, but done for you, the do-it-yourself marketing. This is why celebrities get traditionally published, because they have got a network. They put a Twitter, a post, a TikTok or whatever, and boom, all the sales happen because of their the followers, right? Investment, so they pay for the publishing side. So obviously they don't mentor on content, they don't mentor on accountability to finish your book or market you ongoing. So they expect you come with the book, and they cover the cost of editing, layout, all those bits and pieces. So just the hard costs of the publishing journey. And return on investment is 5 to 15% at best with royalties. So your celebrities are going to get 15%. Someone less known is only 5%. Okay, so it's teeny tiny, yeah? So this is my least favorite. However, there is a backdoor entry in traditional publishing. Do well with your own self-published book and you'll get noticed. One of my authors, I'll actually share her example in this seminar, Amy Revell, she wrote a book with us 6 years ago. She's grown her network. She's got a very famous podcast and a huge Facebook group and community, and now a traditional publisher has come knocking on her door. So there is a backdoor entry, right? Also, Rich Dad Poor Dad, just something so that you know, Rich Dad Poor Dad was originally self-published, then traditionally published. That book for cooking, the four ingredients books, I don't know if you've heard of them, they were originally self-published. They're now traditionally published. Okay, so it's possible. There's a backdoor entry. Self-publishing, the middle one. As I said, takes 12 to 18 months. Why did I say that when I already said 3? Well, because when someone's on their own and doing it completely by themselves to their own devices, they lag. I see the difference between my retreat authors, who are these guys who are with me, Ultimate 48-Hour Author, my signature program, they get books out by Christmas. Others, because they're on their own, they're making their own decisions. You're still guiding your own process, even if we're doing editing, we're doing layout and all that. So mentorship on content, no. If you buy a publishing package, your publisher, self-publisher, will expect that you can write your own book and submit it for editing. Yeah, so that you can write it start to finish. Ownership can vary depending on company. You need to ask the question, will I get my print-ready files? Will everything be set up in my own name? Okay, these are 2 things you must ask. That's how I got stuck with the weight loss book and why I had to republish it. Within my own company, our publishing arm is called Ultimate World Publishing. So when we publish books, at the back of the book, it'll be Ultimate World Publishing. It's the same logo as 48-Hour Author, but it's Ultimate World. We didn't want to put 48-Hour Author on books so people don't undermine them, right? So, but with us, we give you your print-ready files. Everything is set up in your name. The only connection is that little logo on the book that we've done the work. Nothing else. They don't collect any royalties. Rejection rate, no. In self-publishing, generally, there's no rejection rate. It's a fee for service. You buy your package. Can be somewhere between, as I say here on the screen, $6,000 to $10,000 Aussie or $4,000 to $6,500 US. That's based on like a standard publishing package. Obviously, publishing can be up and down depending on the size of the book. Credibility, yes, if you finish your book. Remember what we said, 80% of self-publishing purely purchased packages do not ever get used. So if you finish your book, yes, you will get a credibility. Marketing, no, you're buying a service. Possibly there might be upsells. What happened to me, the harassment that continues to happen, upsell, upsell, upsell. So now the question you should ask, I hope you're not one of those companies that are going to give up my number to hundreds of other marketing companies and they're just going to harass me and ring my phone, because that's what happened to me. You can say, I've learnt this in a seminar. I hope you're not going to, like, you're going to keep everything private, right? With us, we don't. We teach you guys, I'm big on education and do it yourself marketing, because you are the best person that's got the story and that's got the passion and the energy and the enthusiasm behind it, that you have to start the process. You can't just go, oh, I'm just going to handball this off to someone. They're going to solve all my promotional worries. Yeah. You need to learn how to do it in order to outsource it. Right. And, yes, so that's what it happens in self-publishing. 48-hour author. So what is it? So we say it's 3 to 4 months in our signature program. Our signature program, we've just completed the 45th retreat over the last 10 years. So we're about to celebrate 10 years doing this. And in that process, where people do our ultimate package, which is all-inclusive, end-to-end, that's the results we get. All right, so every step of the way we are mentoring you. You start off with Stuart, where he helps you around the structure, publishing, accountability is the retreat and the timelining, the post-retreat follow-ups and accountability calls, all the way through to publishing, and then leverage as well. You get to keep your rights in your files. I don't want anything. I just want to help you and then let you go, be free and benefit for life from your book. Rejection rate. We do have a low rejection rate. We do. I would say 80% of authors will qualify and 20% won't. Sometimes because if I don't think I can help you, then I'll probably go, oh, maybe it's not the right time for you. Like I'll go, oh, you're not kind of ready, you're not clear or whatever. Come back to us. And that's what Wendy, Tammy, Stuart, myself, when we do talk to you one-on-one, we kind of decipher that. And also something we have is we have a no dickheads policy, because as you can sense, this is a family thing. Like we work with 100 authors a year, and we had 22 authors at this retreat. Our authors are between 20 to 25 per retreat for 4 a year. And they're the ones we really, really like kind of go in the trenches with, right? Because we know with these guys, we're going to be writing second book. Well, I already had two people doing second books at this retreat. And so our relationship goes on and on and on and on. The lady that was back after 7 years ago, that's just a testament of how long like kind of we remain. Because also when I was writing one of my 14 books, right, I did five with one publisher, because I had an ongoing relationship. I wanted to keep writing books and I trusted them, and they knew how I work. They know how to work. So that's how it begins, right? So yes, credibility, it is the fastest one. I mean, just imagine launching into the new year with a new book. Like those that are doing November, that's what they will be doing, launching a new book into the new year. Marketing, yes, marketing. We do marketing, sales, education. I'm not going to go do it for you. I'm going to tell you though, go do this. This is how you do it. And for the last 13 years, everything I've taught is filmed, recorded, and also delivered live. So there's live delivery or recorded stuff that you can tap into immediately. And what's our investment? Well, we have a range. Okay, at the most inclusive signature level, it's $18K, which is about 12 US. And at our starting point, like the first 2 obstacles, it's 4.5 Aussie and 3 US. I'll show you a very detailed table of inclusions of what is it, what I get for this, right, kind of thing. And return on investment. Well, for some of my authors, it is about 6 to 7 figure businesses. For some of my authors, it's purely about a bucket list thing. So it depends. But for my ultimate package level, I want to show people how to do 6 to 7 figure businesses if they follow and implement what I teach them. So let's talk now a little bit of return on investment. So how do you need to calculate return on investment when you're writing a book? I really want you to be clear on this, because often people just think of one thing. They think, write a book, sell the books and money, right? And I want you to think bigger. Return on investment in book writing is twofold: tangible and intangible. Here are the 5 or 6 different ways to think about it. So obviously the most obvious one, which we just mentioned, sell books, make money, right? Any human being can sell 300 books. Any human being, has got enough of a warm network and exposure that to move 300 of their books. That's the minimum, right? I would expect. So if you're selling your book between $20 and $30, that'll be $6,000 to $9,000 return on investment. Okay, let's go to the next step now. Let's say you will offer a service. There will be some kind of a coaching, consulting, mentoring, education, whatever it is, like you go deeper with a person. If you package yourself correctly, the way I did with my weight loss stuff, I had 3, 6, 12-month coaching packages. They were somewhere between $3,000 and $10,000. This is 13 years ago I'm talking about. Let's go conservative, $4,000 average, right? For a package to work with somebody. Now, all of a sudden, that's a little bit faster to get that return on investment. Now, let's go to the next level. Speaking gig. All of a sudden, when you're an author, of course, you're going to be considered for speaking. How many of you that I can see on screen would like to speak as a result of writing a book? Just put your hand up if you want to speak. Well, generally, most people do. I know some people on delay, but do you know how many opportunities you get from speaking? Not only will you sell books at the back of the room when they hear you speak, but people are kind of go, oh, I'm curious about what you do. Like I would pick up 3 clients at my speaking gigs because 20, 30 people listen to me speak. 10% of those people like I connect with and we talk, right? And so it eventuates. That's the one-to-many power. All of us, that's how we got to multi-6 figures, just from free speaking gigs for me. I would go to networking events, speak for 10 minutes, and then I would follow up with people and they would become my clients. That's how it's like I was able to quit the day job. Now, free publicity, this is one intangible. You're not going to get money in the bank account for publicity, right? So I'm saying 2.5 to 25 grand. Now, why do I say this? Because here's an example, Dr. Joe, just below this screen, double page spread in the Townsville Bulletin. She wrote a book, The Elite, that's her t-shirt there that she's wearing. That was 25 grand worth of publicity if she had paid for that space in that bulletin. Also, they put her on the front page. Publicity you cannot buy. Because media consumes other media. Dr. Joe says she's been out 3.5, 4 years with us and written 2 books with us. The other book is called In the Grandstands. She says to me, because she does, media is one of her leveraging activities. She gets about 80 to 90 media features each year, and she goes higher and higher each year. And she goes, Nat, selling books is a genuine revenue stream for me because people would see me and other media consumes, and then they feature me and they see me as a reliable source, and I keep getting it. So this is also one of your, what builds what I call your rock star profile. You know, being featured as a speaker, as an author, as a person in the media, and even person that wins awards. That's like people are going, oh my God, they must, like they're out there, they're doing it, you know, so it builds that trust and credibility. Next one, online programs. Maybe some of you don't want to be face, you know, in front of people, live or whatever. Build an online program from your book. Get people to get more depth of the knowledge that you've shared in your book through an online program. That's what Jono does. That's his leveraging activity. He has nowhere to be seen like he does. He goes to awards and things like that and travels the world doing personal development courses, which is his thing. But that's it. Like he sells online programs purely, and that's passive income. My online program and what I do is 2,000 Australian dollars. Whenever I sell it, I don't have to do a minute work. I just deliver the onboarding email to somebody. So that's like passive income. And then the last one, which is also intangible, is healing, confidence, and credibility. I can't tell you, this is the number one return on investment that you're going to get from writing a book. Can I just say that? Like, because often people go, oh, but what the money and go, wait, it is the person you become at the other end of it. It is that person that's going to attract all of these other things. And for some people, guys, they have really tough stories. We've worked with really emotional, traumatic kind of books and stuff over the time, and they're tough to write and all that. For that person to bring out a book is priceless. For them, it's just like, oh my God, Nat, thank you for making me do this and all this sort of stuff. I really, really love it. So here's the leverage crazy map that I wanted to show you. There's so much you can do with your book. These are all the activities that I kind of tapped into over the years with my book. I created this. I didn't download it anywhere. You know, from speaking, getting noticed to be considered as a speaker, getting noticed by the media to be considered for media opportunities, you know, creating further products, books, planners. That diary, I created it. That's like kind of one of my products that I do sell. Preview events, like today's an example. You can deliver half of your book in an event. I mean, we're doing part of the 48-hour author book, right? I'm giving you that knowledge. Sales, corporate speaking gigs, I've done that as well. Podcast circuit interviews, networking, going out and about. That's the most powerful way when you start. Get out there, show people what you've done, and start talking to them. There's so much you can do. I haven't even added extra things on this. I don't want to overwhelm me. But this is the stuff that I teach outside of this retreat. So the 3-day retreat is obviously to get the book done. After the retreat, 6 times a year, we come together for full day trainings. Next week, we have Speak for Profit. So next week on Thursday, Australia, Wednesday, USA, we're doing our Speak for Profit Masterclass. That's when we're deep diving into speaking gigs and corporate speaking gigs. In November, we're going to do Sales Mastery. We do online program creation. We do social media for authors. So all of these things that you see here, I look to educate people in the detail beyond the retreat, because that's the impact. That's how you get to help other people. So here are some of those author examples that I wanted to share with you. So we've got Rachel Sheldrick here at the top of the screen. She wrote a book with us 6 years ago, Turbocharged, How to Take Your Auto Repair Business from Survival to Success. So she wrote only a 20,000 word book because she knew her target market has a short attention span. They're mechanics, right? But she wanted to write the book to leverage to sell her $3,200 online program advertised at the back of her book. So 12 months after the book was out, I said to Rach, come on, give me the figures, because sometimes my budding authors want to know like what's possible, right? So she said, look, now in the first 12 months, 27 grand in book sales, $50,000 in book related speaking activities, and then sold 70 of her $3,200 online programs. So add that up, it was $304,000 of book related revenue. Let's fast track the clock to 6 years later. I saw on social media a couple of weeks ago, she had like a conference for her business because she was on her own, completely solopreneur, doing things every part of the business. Now she was in this boardroom with 7 or 8 other people, aiming for her 4.5 million year in her business. That was on the whiteboard, like, you know, the year thing. Francesca below her. So Francesca and I wrote a book together, Bums on Seats. However, when I met Francesca, she was starting out, like literally in her first year. So I said, you need to write your own book. So she wrote, Follow Me, Shut Up and Build Your Business. I said, because you want to just have your own credibility and not borrow just from me kind of thing. She was, first of all, my student. And we realized we're so alike. We're like sisters from another mother and father. And I said, then we're going to write a book together, and then you'll have 2. So that'll give you extra credibility. So we wrote Bums on Seats. She did 2 books in 5 months. 2 books in 5 months. And then the business grew to 7 figures pre-COVID. She ended up writing Invisible to Invincible. And I had a meeting with her just this Monday gone. And I said, I still share your story, because what happened in COVID, her business fell apart. She couldn't pivot online. After COVID, she did a different model. In the last 12 months, built it to 7 figures. She's got a whole other business model, and it only took her 12 months to get it to 7 figures because she knew what she knew from before. And she said, tell your participants now the extra things. I'm writing my 4th book. She goes, make sure you tell them that now I'm on, she goes, I just haven't like called you to get me the publishing package and stuff. So she's writing her 4th book now. All right, Helen Mitas, one of my hypnotherapist authors, and someone who came to retreat number 2. This is 10 years ago. She ended up licensing her HypnoFit model, and she's got other people doing it. And she's like in a way semi-retired. She half lives in Melbourne, half in Adelaide. And her, myself, and Francesca actually had this meeting on Monday, and she goes, I come to Adelaide, and this is where I'm retired, and I come into Melbourne into the hypnotherapy clinic, who people run it for her. She just oversees it, and that's kind of where she's at in her life. And she's also writing her 2nd book. So she was talking to me about traditional publishing now. She goes, Nat, I'm going to do this other book, traditional publishing. What are all these ins and outs? And when I told her it takes 3 years, she goes, oh my God. I said, why don't you self-publish first, Helen? I said, let's self-publish it. And I said, then you get the attention of the traditional publisher. She goes, oh, you can do that? I said, yes, Rich Dad Poor Dad did it. And she goes, oh, that was good. I didn't know about all that sort of stuff. So I think she's going to go through self-publishing. Here's Amy Revell on the right-hand side, guys. This is the lady that was approached by a traditional publisher, Simply Organized, and she was the fastest book ever written. She went from a solo personal organizer to a team of 36. She's buying out other people's businesses now. Her famous podcast, if you want to look it up, is The Art of Decluttering. I'm sure most of us are women here. We love to get neat and organized and all that sort of stuff. But Amy's absolutely amazing. She's got, I think, a same name Facebook group as well. Deborah Villa, a chiropractor who wanted to do corporate wellness speaking. So that's what she wanted to kind of talk to women in corporate around burnout and things like that. So we've had a lot of publicity ourselves. Our authors have had a lot. This is the thing that builds, I guess, your profile further and further. And most beautiful thing is when I get to see them hold their first book in hand. You cannot wipe that smile off their face. They're a whole new person. This guy here, bottom left, Wild from Perth, has done 6 books with us. He's the record holder, current record holder of the most books ever published through us. But this is our process. Let's talk about the process, yeah? And this is where kind of all the obstacles are overcome and how we do it and all that. So when we look at this holistically, we're looking at the ultimate program where it takes you from start through to finish, right? As I said, there is also like where people start just with number 1 and 2, or people just purchase number 3. But if we're looking at holistically, this is how it happens. So when people start with us, let's say one of you or quite a few of you might decide, yes, I want to do November. I want to be a new author by 2024. You will start with your 90-minute session one-on-one with Stuart. You're going to come up with your book unpack, chapter unpack. You're going to get given homework of the 10 to 12 hours of prep. You might want to even start writing. That would be my little tip. Start doing a bit before you come to retreat so you can relax a bit more there. And you guys are going to work on a mock-up cover. This is what you saw at the background that Tammy and Wendy had of the mock-up covers that these retreat authors had designed for them and got feedback while our cover designer is live on the call on day 1. He listens, he tweaks, he adjusts and all that sort of stuff. So then the authors come together for the 3-day virtual retreat. We have authors from USA, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and so they come together. It's not like today. You are focusing on writing your book, you are debriefing, you're getting mentoring, and there are some teach segments around marketing and pre-launching your book. On the end of day 1, these guys pre-launched their books, and I've got ticks here and all that sort of stuff. Well, you know, most people like sold 20 to 30 books, and this is my cure to procrastination. Like, we get you guys to set up like a sell on social via PayPal or build a landing page, and you announce that your book's going to be out in the next 3 to 4 months. And when people give you money for your book, guess what? You're no longer accountable just to me and Stuart. You're accountable to your people who've paid you, right? You need to come through for the good. This is a strategy we run not for return on investment, even though the money is nice when it starts to come earlier, right? It is so that you finish. Yeah, this is my little trick, you know. And I don't force people, by the way, not every single person, but 90% of them pre-launched, you know, because they know, you know, I want to get this done. The cure to procrastination is when you make a commitment to someone else. Okay, so accountability, support, community, timelines. Now we're going to have our post-retreat calls every week. You know, 30 days post-retreat is critical. There's enough time to record your audio. There's enough time, you know, that transcription, cleanup, all of those stages. I say the 30 days post-retreat are critical. And if you can do it in the 14 days, it's even better. I know you're on the home stretch. As soon as you come into publishing, editing, layout, print production, this is that number 3 process here. I know you're going to finish, yeah? And then, of course, the book's out. We need to go into impact, which is about the masterclasses, which is about those additional education things that if you really want to help people, that you should be setting up the infrastructure around the book to leverage it in a massive way. Okay, so let's, I'll take a drink of water. I'll play a 1-minute video of someone who's been at the virtual retreat.
Everyone, I'm Nikki Langman, and I am the soon-to-be published author of How to Be a Badass, Navigating Your Road to Self-Mastery. I've just finished the Ultimate 48-Hour Author Retreat and virtually, and it has been such a wonderful weekend. It's been a weekend of learning, deep learning and instruction, which is just so valuable, and connection. The people that have been here all have so much support for each other. So I felt like I was just in this warm bubble of support from Nat and Stu and Viv and Lundy, all there for us, and all of the authors supporting each other with our similar experiences, our fears, our reservations. I cannot recommend this retreat higher. It hit on all cylinders. We had fun, we got silly, we got dressed up, we wrote, we had intense periods of flow, and overall it was one of the best weekends of my life. So I highly encourage you to do it yourself.
Awesome. All right. So yeah, some of the support that I just want to show you on my calendar of events for my authors is now that we're online, we're able to spend time with you live, just like we're here live this morning, this afternoon for you guys. All of our calls, like there's something happening every week. So we've just completed this one, the green one here. We're about to do masterclass next week, Speak for Profits, that one. There's publishing accelerator calls with Vivi and Julie. They're a publishing team that take care of you. Currently, we have about 50 books in progress that are going through various stages and all that. There's the coaching couch with Nat that happens every 2 weeks. There is the masterclasses that I said. There's so many things that we've been able to add more into this, that when I was face to face, I had to be on planes, I had to be in cars, I had to pack and unpack. And therefore, like, people would only see me at 3 days and then off Nat goes on touring again, right? So people get us and they get us live as well. And it works really well for the other side of the world, because you guys in USA and Canada, you guys, when you guys finish your day stuff, you can come into the live calls because everything happens afternoon to evening, and it is really has worked really well. That's why we continue like to work with our US and Canadian authors, because the timelining is really good. That's why for Europe it's not ideal because of that middle of the night concept, but everything's also recorded. Every single thing, you'll never miss a thing, and are be with us and super organized. So we will work with 80 retreat authors generally a year. So we've got kind of like, because we want to keep things intimate with you guys, and we want you to be really taken care of and get to know us and vice versa. And that's about 20 retreat authors per quarter retreat. Sometimes at our retreats, we'll have the repeat authors. There might be 3 to 5 authors who are doing second books and all that sort of stuff. Then 70 publishing only. So if our authors are writing second, third books and all that, we can allocate 70 publishing only, which is about 17 publishing only authors per quarter. And after that, we have a waiting list, because this is our intimate community that we love growing and nurturing as we go along. So as I said, I'm going to show you what all the inclusions are, because there's a lot. I'm not going to talk through this line by line by line. We can go through this according to what recommendation we make for you guys. We can go through this in your one-to-one conversation with us. But a couple of you were asking in the chat, what are the next dates? So let's go through that. So November 7th to the 9th, Australia, 6th to the 8th, USA, Canada. And generally those authors have books in hand around March. So that retreat, it's more than half full. There's about 7 spots now left that we can prep people for. And then February is the 4th. So it's always Feb, May, August, November. Feb, May, August, November. Every 3 months, because that's how long it takes us to take care of everyone, to finish the cycle, to move on to the next group, right? February is 20th to the 22nd, which is 19th to the 21st for USA and Canada. And then that one's got about 12 spots and books in hand early June, thereabouts, okay? So when you look at this table of inclusions, there are 4 different levels that you can go into or start, or actually get the ultimate package if you really like committed to this and you want to get the best value. Okay, so the first level is Retreat Accelerator. That takes care of obstacle 1 and 2. You can see here in the green. Takes care of obstacle 1 and 2, meaning the time with Stuart, all the preparation, pre-retreat work, mock-up cover, all that, attendance of your program. You will need to then think about publishing. You need to add that on. You'll need to publish a book, right? And then, of course, the leverage and marketing. Level 2 is the lifetime mentoring. So level 2 takes care of obstacle 1, 2, and 4. So that's where you can see here a lot of the things that we do, it is lifetime. Lifetime attendance of retreats. Except at Retreat Accelerator, it is 1 retreat only, right? But it's a great entry point if that's the only way you can make it happen, right? So lifetime membership into our group, lifetime masterclasses, lifetime access. When I just did these 3 days, those that were Retreat Accelerator, I said, oh my God, like I'm going into the lifetime level, because I can see I need to learn a lot more than just be at the 3 days, right? Guided book publishing is your 3rd level. And the 4th level is what we call our ultimate package. So the one that existed from day one. The only one that was offered back in the first 7-8 years of doing this was the ultimate package, which goes start to finish, end to end, nothing more to thinking about, no extra costs, and inclusive of all your publishing, all your lifetime. So the authors that were doing their second books, they don't need to reinvest in a retreat. All they need to do for second books is take care of publishing. And publishing means we also give them in-house author rates, which are cheaper than the general public. So let's talk about the investments. At the bottom, you can see it's between 4,500 Australian all the way to 17,995. Okay, and then these are the upfront fees. If you do need a payment plan, we can talk about that at our one-to-one author breakthrough chat. I have converted that into US dollars at the bottom line. for those of you that are on the other side of the world, and that's between 3,000 to 12,000 US, which can also be sorted out on part payments and all that. There is one thing that we do when we run a live seminar, and that is we have a bonus for the first person who commits to the ultimate package will also get added to that package $1,000 worth of books, which is about 140, 150 books to start you off on. We pay for it on our credit card, and you will get them delivered to you, which is approximately $3,500 to $4,000 return on investment when you sell those initial books, right, in your package. This is one that gets snapped up like really, really quickly. It was interesting over the retreat. Which one of you guys were the first person at the retreat? And we had 4 or 5 people put their hand up saying, yes, we're so excited. We've got our $1,000 worth of books in addition to what all the inclusions are, right? The next bonus when we do a live seminar is for those people who talk to us in the first 48 hours after we've completed. So today or tomorrow, and I guess till midday on Monday, we will add $500 worth of books to your package if you do the ultimate package. So this is only applicable to ultimate end-to-end package. We'll add some extra bulk books, we call it. Okay, so we also have a 30-day money-back guarantee so that you know you're working with the best people and they were going to take care of you, because you go, oh my God, who are these guys? And are they real? Yes, we are real. So join our private author community, have your session with Stuart, attend your available support course. And if you don't love everyone and you don't trust us 100 million%, money back guarantee. No questions asked, guys. That's how much we back what we do, because we know that we love our authors and they love us, and therefore we are confident to have that out there. Okay, so here's what we need to do next. So what we need to do next is obviously no one can come into this program unless they qualify into the program. Okay, so we are inviting you to book an author breakthrough chat with ourselves, right? So myself and Stuart are taking care of Australia and New Zealand over this weekend. So if anyone is in Australia and New Zealand, there's 2 links there, either for myself or Stuart. And I've got, as I said, Bernice is already booked in for me immediately after this seminar. So I'll be talking to you. And if you're in the US and Canada, book in with Tammy. There's her link there as well. I'm sure Lindy's putting them in the chat box right now, and they are in your follow-up email as well. Wendy, our Australia and New Zealand expert, is available from Monday onwards. She is here. She came here to meet you guys and get to know you, and she's spoken to you quite a bit over the lead up of the seminar. So she's available from Monday. As I said, for Australia and New Zealand, book in with myself or Stuart, or with Tammy, book in for USA and Canada from tonight actually, because it's tonight at her end. And she's staying up. She is staying up to chat to you guys, and she's opened stuff on her weekend, and we're working. So don't assume we are having our weekend. This is our working weekend that happens 4 times a year because we do it post-retreat. So you will pick your time in your time zone. Okay, when you see the time options, it'll be your time zone. You will answer 5 or 6 questions, takes 1 minute to do, and you'll follow the Zoom link at that time with whoever you've booked with, right? All right, so let's hear quickly from Tammy and Wendy, and then I'll open up for some questions. Go ahead, Tammy. This is Tammy.
Yep, hi. Yeah, this is my book, The Corporate Maniac, on stress and burnout, how I healed from stress and burnout. And I'll tell you, the most valuable advice that I can give you is to seek the help of professionals, right? There's so many people that I know, including myself, who initially figured, I'll just figure it out all on my own, right? I'll get a little bit of this, I'll hire a little bit of that, bare bones. And I see people doing this today. I have a professional product, professionally edited. I didn't have to figure out how to get an ISBN number, right? It was, you have to invest if you're going to expect to be credible, right? You want to have a viable product, especially if you're going to launch or use it as credibility. It's got to look credible, right? So it was the most valuable thing that I did, investing in Ultimate 48-Hour Author, and now I'm part of them twofold. So give me a call. We can talk about the steps that you need to take, kind of what you're looking to do with your book. I talk to a lot of authors. I have a lot of advice, and we have a lot of solutions.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. And I'll move on to Wendy. Now, Wendy, you can see on her background, she's got her books, but also here they are a little bit bigger on the screen. She was in your spots 5 years ago, in your position. She came to a face-to-face retreat actually at the time, but then Wendy wrote DM and Nurse Me just last year, the year before, I think. And she's been in this community for quite a long time. So, Wendy, what are your hot tips for them?
Hi, everyone. I had the pleasure of speaking to a few of you that have come on the call. So great to see you here in the last few days. So yeah, joined the community 5 years ago. My hot tips are for you that the taking action, procrastination. So we talked to so many authors that have been writing their books, and you all put your hands up saying, you know, you've been wanting to do it for like the last 5 years. My key tip is to take some action towards making that dream, that desire, that keenness, to take action and make that happen for you. So don't let your papers fly around the desk. You know, get some professional help, as Tammy said, to get that organised and take the next steps. There's something about taking action that really keeps you focused and keeps you on the momentum to moving forward.
Nice. Thank you so much, Wendy. So my final bit of information I want to share with you guys before I open the floor for questions. Really, everyone has a choice. Yeah, you can learn things in 3 different ways. Okay, and I hope that every one of you is going to do number 1 or number 2 and number 3. Okay, so let's go through. So you can do it the easy and fast way. Get someone else to teach you that has the results you want. Get the shortcut. Get on with it, and be a published author in 3 to 6 months, depending on when your timeline was. Right. The second way is the way I did it, the hard and slow way. I did it trial and error. At the minimum, go to our website, get the trilogy and the planner, you know, get into a bit of the nuances behind. If you did like how this system sounded and the process and all that sort of stuff, it's available in e-version as well as paperback, physical ones. But do something that will assist you. Don't just do what I did, whereas I didn't read no book on writing a book. I didn't understand anything about publishing. And then the third way, I hope that no one's going to go this way. You do it the tragic way. Okay, and you do nothing at all. And I've seen way too many people return to this seminar years after the fact and say, I should have done it that first time. And another 3 or 5 years or 10 years have gone by and I didn't do it, right? So I want to point this out, and maybe you can read it in your own time when you see the slides. You can download the slides. But, you know, writing a book alone is very, very risky, I say. Perceived likelihood is low because you don't have the step. You have generally, I find, the internet has so much information and it really is overwhelming. I don't know what to do first step because there are many different ways to reach a goal, right? With 48 Hour Author, there's a proven step-by-step system. Point you in every step of the way. There's professional people who've been doing this for 10 years that have all the answers that you don't have to come up with yourself. You know, the time delay is often years and many decades on doing it on your own. It can be 3 to 4 months. It can be as fast as that. And the effort and sacrifice can be really high. You know, in terms of money, trial and error, doubt, self-doubt. Most of all, people get stuck psychologically on this process. It's psychologically rather than logistically, which is what I talk about here on the right. And yeah, absolutely. I want to see everyone finish rather than be frustrated. So we pride ourselves on having a 93% completion rate from our retreat authors coming through. So the authors we invite into our program, we're looking at not just your book topic, not just you know, who you are, but we want the personality. We want someone who's decisive, who's resourceful, and who's 100% coachable. Because we truly want to work with people that are going to do the work alongside what we're, what we're teaching. And you've got to pass our no dickheads policy. As I said, we've got to hang out for a long time if it comes through. So we want to make sure that we are, we enjoy working together and all that sort of stuff. So as I said, one more time, Stuart's just sent me a private message saying Bernice had to move to early next week. So my immediate straight after seminar option is now, I think, free. He's moved her moved her to a different slot. So myself and Stuart are available immediately, straight after we finish, or for the rest of this afternoon. Here, Tammy's available straight after into the evening into the US. Tammy, did you want to say something? You're waving?
Nope. I just agree.
You agree, yeah, and her Saturday. So we've set aside this time to talk to you guys. And Wendy from Monday, I'm sure she'll be reconnecting with people she's spoken to already anyway. So remember that writing your book is not about the book. The first book, I believe, truly is about the person you become at the other end of it. So I'd like to open up the floor. Stuart, if there is any questions that I've missed, I saw the chat box was going crazy. So I was like, I can't read and talk. So is there something you want to cover off? And then guys, just put your hand up if you have a question, either virtually or put it in the chat, and I can give you the answers. Go ahead, Stuart.
I was just going to say, though, I think I've got all of the questions done in there, but all I wanted to jump in and say was, like, there are some people that are writing some really, really amazing stories, and you'll know within yourselves, guys, now, the people that I know that end up writing their books, so whether it's with us or whether it's with others, no longer is it just this little voice that you can tell to shut up and put away and come to another seminar in a year's time or whatever, or you're going to tell people about it. That little voice that you might have had should be bloody roaring at you right now. Like, it really should. If you're not hearing it, if you're not just getting this feeling of, I've got to do this, there are too many people that need to hear my message, or I've got to do this so I can close this chapter of my life and move on to everything else. If it's not hearing it, probably not the right time. Unfortunately, I talk to so many people and I can see the value in their stories, and all of us can, and we know what it's going to do, but they let that fear and they let that self-doubt and everything pop up. And what's someone going to think? No one's going to ever attack you from above. I hate to say above. I believe we're all equal, but the only noise you're ever going to hear is from people that are jealous, or they wish they had the guts or the courage to do something that you guys are thinking of doing. So shut them out. Focus on that person that you can help. Whether it was writing, if you wish that there was an answer to your problem or what you were going through when you were going through it and couldn't find it. Imagine being that person for someone else. I put really early, if you can make a change in one person's life, hell, it's worth doing. But imagine if you could change 10 people, 100, 1,000, things like that. That's what you got to focus on. If you're going to make it happen, even though it might be your story, it's no longer about you. Focus on those people that you can help. And even if you just want to talk through your ideas, what you can do, your impact you can help. If you've got these, but this person's going to, if you've just got these little self-doubts and fears, we hear it all of the time. So we can probably help you work through what it might be. Just if you're hearing that voice and it's now yelling at you, bloody listen to it. I'm sorry, but do something. Take some action with it, whatever it is.
Awesome. Paola, I'm just want to clarify the question you're asking about the Costa 101. You mean the post seminar call that is free? I can see there that Lindy has popped out. Absolutely, there's no cost, guys. We need to get to know you. If we don't, it's almost like you guys are checking us out, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we can help. And if we can help, then, we'll tell you what those next steps are. Part of, you do actually get one-on-one when you do work with us through any of those levels, you get one-on-one through it. It's like a package. It's not just like you're buying an hour at a time and all that. It's ongoing. And as you can see, it's like lifetime unlimited access. So Lisa had a question, let's say in the US or Canada. Okay, so what is the total cost of package? I already put it up on the screen, so it depends what level, Lisa. And when you have the one-on-one conversation, it could be from 4.5 Australian to 17,995 Australian. So through the conversation, we will work out, well, where is the best way for you to start, or what do you actually need? Because, for example, our memoir, let's talk about a couple of memoir authors that I had at this retreat. They didn't need the leverage and the the marketing, all that sort of stuff. They just wanted to write the book. So they got the time with Stuart, so level 1 and level 3 with the publishing package. So they got that together. So unless I know who or what you're writing or for what purpose, so some of the questions, let me tell you what we're going to ask you in that one-on-one. We're going to find out about you in the book. We're going to ask you, well, why now? What's in the line in the same moment? What's your timeline? What do you want to do with the book? What are some of the things you want to do with it? Why is this important? Where do you want to see yourself and things like that? And we'll just work through some, key aspects to figure it out. So then we'll go, okay, from what you want to do and what your challenges are, this is kind of the solution as to where you're at. So you say that you're in Australia, Lisa. So yeah, if you want to chat to me or Stu, one of us, well, have the first call available straight after the seminar, or later this afternoon or tomorrow. We're working all of Sunday, or Wendy from Monday. You can talk, and then you can then go, oh, okay, and this is what the cost is. Or if you need a payment plan, we talk about those options as well, because we've got lots of people on various different setups. All right, May, are you waving at me? Come off mute, May. You just got to come off mute at your end. Go ahead.
Hi, I have a question.
Yes.
A lot of the information that you presented is really spot on for someone who has an idea about a very, I've got the experience in this, and therefore I want to share it with people who want that kind of information. But and I had no idea what I wanted. It's just that your workshop on Facebook attracted me, because people would say to me, your life story is really interesting. You really need to write a book on it. And so I just sort of went on that.
Yeah. So May, at this retreat, we had 2 people doing that. So writing life stories. You wouldn't be, I'm just pretending now that I've had the longer conversation with you, but you probably will not be suited to the ultimate package,
Yes.
or the second level, but you might be a combination of the first level ultimate retreat accelerator and the publishing package to get this memoir completed. So to get help with the structure, and to get the help with the accountability, and then the publishing. So that's where I would fit you in. I don't want to give anyone a recommendation of something they don't need. So you don't need the highest level, but you'll need probably the first and the third level.
Yeah. So my question basically was, what would the timeline be? Because you're offering all these retreats.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, for someone who is writing or wanting to write a legacy, what recommendation would you make for the timelines?
I would still encourage you to, if you can, join the November program. And between now and November, with the stuff that you would do with Stuart, you will then start writing independently. Do your program, so to make sure you do adhere to your goals. So what goal did you set? Did you set a goal before when I asked you? Did you put a date when you want a book in hand?
I had a start date, but I didn't have an end date. But I sort of a year, because a lot of research has to go in.
Yes.
Because there's historical significance, and I don't know the dates. It's all like, publicly it's not known, and it's outing a government in some way to acknowledge what happened. So I wanted to have facts.
You can definitely take longer than, say, 3 to 4 months. You're not being rushed. Actually, if we look at the dates here on the whiteboard, not everyone is a Christmas book. Some people are next year, April, gold out to have in hand, and June next year. So we don't rush you. You can do some of that stuff, but it is really important to get started, to get given the structure, and to go off, do the research or the writing, come into a group so that you have got things, like-minded people working alongside you. And then at the back end, if it takes another 3 to 6 months, that's okay as well. Yeah. But the thing is, you put the framework and the foundations in place, and you're being supported inside a community that is doing this very similar things. You're going to meet the people who are writing like you, memoir, and just like a legacy book. And you're going to meet the people who are, oh, no, grow a business and all that sort of stuff. So that's why when I asked at the beginning, legacy, launch or leverage, and I wanted to explain that, there were people who have no business intention behind that were at our program. But if you're a fiction or a children's book, then I don't recommend to come to the 3-day. Those types of books we can publish if they're already written, but you're not going to come to the retreat because you're not going to get the value from it. But memoir, yes, you will get value from it, and good accountability and good support system around you. So book a time with me, Stu, Wendy, so that we can go a little bit deeper. Like I have a whole lot of questions to ask you when I talk to you that I need to tick you off on. It's really, I'm like kind of doing a little bit of an interview, with you, and vice versa, and then kind of explaining what your customized journey is going to look like. Because you're all human beings. You have your own flavor, right? And so we want to, see if there's a suitable pathway for everybody. Okay? So hopefully that
Thank you
helps.
very much.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you.
I love how she speaks. She's so soothing to listen to, May. Like, you know, even at the beginning when I heard you speak, I was like, oh my God, I could listen to you forever. Beautiful. Anyone else has a question? Do you want me to take you off mute? Hopefully I've clarified bits and pieces where you're at. And some of you are probably looking. I can see you staring at your computer, probably trying to answer all the questions on the form.
There's one from Donna that I can jump in and ask quickly. So I know we spoke to you earlier at the start, Donna. So to work out the saleability of your niche topic, yeah, look, it's not an exact science. I just started it right, so I can delete that now. If you've got, so say for instance, one of the ladies we're just helping at the last retreat, she lost her daughter to melanoma, skin cancer. And so obviously that's a bigger one. So a lot of people are affected by melanoma. So we were able to kind of go what we just jumped into. We roughly went, okay, people that lost their melanoma deaths last 3 years or something like that. Then we went melanoma, people that are affected by it, and we were getting roughly those stats. So we knew that there's X amount, but of course, are all of those people going to be interested in it? No. Then because it was a young person, we kind of then went and looked, okay, so people under 20 that are impacted by it, and we kind of just got some ideas like that. Then looking at, well, with hers is about also, she started a charity around it called Ride for Cure. So hers is all about reinvigorating and getting people to know about the charity again. It's almost its origin story. So she knows she's going to feed her, for instance, there's a lot of media opportunities. So she's not looking just per unit of books sold. She's looking at being a person of influence in this space. So someone that they would ever, if the media wanted to get some grabs about, well, what it's like, how can we talk around melanoma and educating young people, of course, she wrote a book. She's a go-to person in it. If you're purely trying to work out how many people could buy my book, it is a tough one, but hopefully the way I just suggested would give you some ideas. Bloody, map it out like that.
A couple other questions, Stuart. So Zilla, we're also sending you the recording of this in the next couple of hours if you want to catch the bit that you missed. And yes, we have an in-house publishing company, Ultimate World Publishing, that takes care of everything. And again, some people might just be suited to that stuff, but we go through working out where a person is. And, sometimes people, again, don't know what they don't know. And they go, I just need this, but they might need a little bit more, and they might make a recommendation. Susan, what about Amazon? So all books get uploaded on Amazon KDP and also on Ingram Spark. So Ingram Spark, your physical book's going to get uploaded, and then they have a distribution network of 39,000 online resellers. So when your book gets enabled for distribution, it'll show up on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, on Booktopia, on Book Depository. This is where my son Judd's book, because I don't promote it personally for him, it gets the people buying it and things on the other websites, which gives you that credibility. When people search you, you'll pop up. Your book's going to pop up in a million different places. The ebook goes directly on Amazon, and we do in-house also provide a service if people want to do it. It's the Amazon #1 bestseller campaign. We can make out, we've done 150 books with 100% success rate to go into bestseller status on. It's a strategy though. It's a hack. I talk about it at the retreat. Do the authors say? Sometimes you do sell your own books. I do recommend to have some on stock. Why not? If you're going to a speaking gig, why would you not sell some books? You get the most profit that way. So you certainly should sell your book from your own website, as well as have the international distribution. Like, spread it out as much as you possibly can. The efforts, like, they're on my website, but they're also internationally as well. Lisa, let me take you off mute. You've got your kind of hand up there, so come off mute. And hopefully that answered the question, Susan. Go ahead, Lisa.
Guys, what I wanted to ask is, like, I want to create a brand as in a business that it's passionate in regards to our environment. It's to do with designing clothing, but the legacy behind it is domestic violence and also mental health.
Yes.
So this is where I want my book to come into with this. So just kind of like with the branding of it, would I be looking at to do, like, with the business name itself, would that be relating to like how I would label the book, as in the title or the name of the book itself, or just how I attach it to my business probably is
Okay.
what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, this is a longer conversation.
Yeah, yeah,
I suggest book a time with Stuart.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and he's the guy that kind of helps you find the positioning. And he's the person you'll start with if you do work with us. But the initial oh shit.
Oh, my doggy. Sorry.
But yes, take that half an hour with him, and he'll kind of ask you the various questions, because I need to ask a lot more questions to give you the exact answer to this. And
Yeah.
as I said, there's no obligation. You can just choose to pick our brain if that's what you want to do.
Mhm.
But at least then you'll kind of get the right steps and what it is for you.
Yeah.
I can't answer it I wouldn't do it justice in 3 sentences.
Yeah, no, knowledge is power, yeah.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you.
What else do I have here? Also, any emails coming through are coming for 48 hours. I have been having a bit difficult time. Yes, and yeah, so the email should come from book@ultimate48hourauthor.com.au. So if you want to guys put that as a safe email, that would be good. And yes, they'll have my name there. So yeah, so that's is that all? Is there anything else that I can kind of cover off? I mean, be selfish and take the time to talk about what you want to do with someone, right? You know, even if it's just you're doing this for yourself, take the half an hour with Tammy if you're in the US and Canada, with myself, Stuart, or Wendy if you're in Australia and New Zealand. What months are it again? I'm guessing you're asking about the retreats. The next one is August. The following one is February. And I believe in the thank you email that would be there. Well, the PowerPoint will be there, so you can just literally flick through the PowerPoint, and it's got all the inclusions and all the bits and pieces and things like that. So I'll close the call now on my favorite quote that I've been sharing with you guys so far, and I really look forward to getting to know some of you one-on-one, and I know some of you will talk to Stuart, Tammy, or Wendy, simply because we've got to jump on the first call after the seminar. So remember that writing your first book is not about the book. It is about the person you become at the other end of it. All right, have a good afternoon and great weekend, and let's talk. All right, talk soon. Bye, guys. Bye.